Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Greer Industries, improving people's lives for more than a century.
It has already been a wet start to our Tuesday out there, and now we'll continue to watch for some wet weather to move through as we head into the afternoon, evening hours, as we are going to be watching for some showers and thunderstorms to push through the area. Now, some of these have the potential to be severe. We're talking damaging winds. Wind gusts could be higher than 75 miles per hour, along with some tornadoes going to be possible as well. Yes, we're under a severe weather threat as we head into the day today. We're at a slight risk to just to the west up to this enhanced risk here. So wanting to stay very weather aware as we do watch these unsettled conditions move through as we head into the afternoon and some evening hours, continuing to watch for some of those heavier downpours and some flooding concerns across the area. So we are going to continue to keep a very close eye on that. We're also tracking severe weather as we take a look at our Fly CRW forecast. It starts at home. Unsettled weather for many as we head not only in the day today, but as we head through the next several days as well. So for your Panhandle, the Panhandle forecast, watching for these showers and storms to develop as we head into the afternoon, into some of those evening hours today, wanting to stay very weather aware with temperatures across the board looking in the 80s, some even hitting 90 degrees, 91 in Huntington as we head into the day today. So today we're watching for the severe weather. We'll continue to watch for some showers and storms as we head into midweek. Temperatures look to heat up on Thursday and then stay warm as we head into the weekend as we continue to watch for some additional shower and thunderstorm activity. So stay safe out there.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
This is Metro News Hotline, presented by Salango Law. Metro News Hotline is a 3-hour audio tour navigating the world of sports, news, entertainment, tech, and more from a Mountain State point of view. For your entertainment, Hotline is a no politics zone. You can join the conversation. Text the show at 304-825-5304. 304-TALK 304 or call 800-765-8255. Once again, filling in for Dave Weekly is Dale Cooper.
Cowabunga, man. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in to the Tuesday edition of Metro News Hotline. I'm Dale Cooper, filling in for Dave Weekly for less than a week. Dave will be back a week from Monday, but thanks so much for tuning in today. We have a normal cast of characters here today. Matt Guitar Murphy is my producer behind the glass. Ryan Nicholson is in studio with us for the first segment here, and we have a big show coming up for you today. Of course, today is Tuesday. That means we're going to check in with Dave Bryan from Steelers Depot. We're also going to have a little bit of a theme today. We're going to talk to Steve Whittington from Select Cards and Collectibles. Select Cards and Collectibles. Now, Steve's with us a lot of the time on here, and we talked about collecting and different things. I'm going to take more of a broad view with Steve today. I'm going to ask him about collecting higher-end items, higher-end cards, collectibles, memorabilia, things along those lines, and how you get into that game, how to make sure you don't get defrauded, and the safe ways to do that. And then a little bit later on in the show, in the 5 o'clock hour, I'm going to have on independent insurance agent Don Wilson. He's going to be with me. I do another show with Don here locally in Charleston, and found out in doing that show about some of the complexities with insuring things like baseball cards collections and vinyl collections and memorabilia collections. Not necessarily a job of your normal insurance company. So we're going to take a little bit of an interesting perspective on that. We're going to find out how to build your collection and then how to protect your collection from fire, flood, and things along those lines. So hopefully that ends up being pretty interesting for us today. Daniel Woods is going to join us in the 5 o'clock hour as well. We're going to do a breakdown of the Mountain East Conference football for this season. Daniel is the voice of the West Virginia State Yellow Jackets, and so we'll get a individual perspective on West Virginia State University from him, but also just a general breakdown of the MEC. So I think we're going to have a pretty good show here today. A lot of the regulars are going to be in, something a little bit different, and we'll try to have a good time. As always, our text line number is 304-825-5304, 304-TALK, 304 at any time. If you want to get in on the program, you're welcome to send over a text message as well as answering our question of the day. Before we get into all of that stuff, though, let's introduce our cast of characters. I already mentioned Matt Murphy, who's with us again today. How you doing, Matt?
I'm dry.
Man, it is. I mean, this is no news to anybody in our state, but it's been raining like crazy out there.
Yeah, it's been an interesting day. Ryan had the lights went out on them earlier. And
oh, really?
Yeah.
You had one of those. You had one of those. Was it a? Oh, I didn't see the lights go out.
The lightning went.
Here's the thing. Like, the lights went out in the studio, and the computers in there flickered a bit, but we didn't have like a full power outage.
Good.
So we were never off the air, which is a miracle. But all the lights in the host part of the studio were turned off. So today, Dave Allen and Amanda Barron were just sitting in the dark.
They were just here in the dark.
Yeah.
So these went off, but were their computers off too, or did those stay on?
I think their computers were still on.
We'll talk about that a little bit later, because this is one of my man, Matt, how long have I been chasing down these battery backup weasels that have been in our building?
Yeah.
Like, this has been one of my massive things that I've been trying to get done forever, is to get all of our battery backups on the right schedule. So when we have this giant generator out back, all we need is literally like 1 second of coverage from our backups, and the generator will kick on, and that's all we need for our backups. So it's good to know that all of the critical equipment anyway was on backup appropriately, and that's what I expect. However, the light shouldn't go out either, so we might still have a battery backup somewhere that isn't connected, right? Maybe, but that is. There's been times before we got that much fixed when we would have that, and if we missed on the switch over to the backup generator and we actually did go off the air, that happened a couple times. One time when in fact, it might have been within the first half dozen times that I actually hosted this show for Dave. So it was years and years ago. I was sitting in this studio and we had a complete blackout. And actually, I think you were producing too.
I think I was.
Because I had to walk you through getting us back on the air because everything in there went dead. And man, I got the nastiest call afterwards about how unprofessional it was for me to be talking to you about the technical aspects of the show while we were on the air. But I didn't know what else to do. It was your first time doing it. Like, that was normally my position, and I didn't know how to get you to walk through it otherwise.
It's a little behind the scenes. It should be interesting.
That's how I do training, though. As most people that come to work here know, that you learn the basics of radio, and then, frankly, you just have to wait till things go wrong, and then I'll call and be like, this is how you get out of it. I mean, there's no other way. I mean, you can't come up with the 8 zillion different scenarios that happen in this business to get people ready for everything.
It's trial by fire around here. We do well with that.
Yeah, Ryan, I think maybe one of Ryan's very first live gigs is he was trying to do a live basketball game with Jeff Jenkins, maybe?
Yes, it was. I want to say it was like my 5th or 6th game ever that I did with him, and the access unit just completely went out.
Couldn't connect, right? Yeah.
And so he called in on his cell phone, and he did the entire game on his cell phone.
Broadcast professionals, baby. That's how you do it.
It sounded terrible. It was awful.
It was on the air.
But it was on the air.
That's a little. I mean, that was like literally 10 years ago, probably.
Yeah.
How long, have you been here 10 years?
Yes.
Yeah, probably was about 10 years ago.
Here's a funny story. It was like my first or second shift here, like super early. I had just been hired that week, and it goes to dead air for some reason. I think it was like stuck on a special playlist or something, but it was dead air. And me not knowing anything, I was like, guess that's all the radio for today. And then Jeff Jenkins, I just hear him go, boom, 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 boom. You're supposed to be watching the station. And I'm like, I didn't know.
Oh, we went off the air on Sunday. Yeah, that happens from time to time. Yeah. Honestly, that's one of the difficulties when I bring folks in. Of course, you've been here for a while now, so you understand the way things work. But when you're hiring in general, like in my position, and you're bringing people in that don't really know about radio, I mean, people will apply for the job just like they apply for a job for anything else. So they don't know anything more about radio than they know about anything. Yeah. And so you bring people in, and in this day and age, you actually have to explain radio. Like, this is this live audio that's always on, and it's kind of our job to keep it on, to make sure the right thing's on. And, I mean, you have to start at really basic 101 type stuff, and that's somewhat difficult every once in a while.
That's the thing that the older folks hopefully are trying to instill into the younger generation. It's like, there's this thing out here. It's curated for you. There's a live human being on the other end, and you don't even need a streaming device. You can leave your phone at home, and the radio will be there.
I have a feeling there's not a lot of that outreach going on, but hopefully
Probably
there's
not.
some. I kind of hope that there is.
I'm planting seeds here, Coop.
Yeah, hey man, I'm not against that. That does kind of remind me though of a story that I ran into earlier this week. I actually ran into it yesterday, but I thought that it worked pretty well for what we do here, because we were just talking about dead air and the first time you were on the radio. Did you hear about this thing that happened in the UK? This is pretty crazy, and this is. People in our industry have fears about this all the time, about accidentally letting out a piece of media that you have, like, it's embargoed for some reason or another. Mm-hmm. It could be like an obituary. It could be like a piece of exclusive entertainment that you have to embargo, or a news story that you get that's embargoed.
Concert announcement.
Something like that. And then you schedule them, because your job is okay, on social media, we got to do all these different things and get things ready to go and stuff. What if you put in a typo? What if you accidentally put in the wrong day? What if something happens and you break the embargo on accident? Well, that's not exactly what happened here, but it's still pretty crazy. Radio Caroline, that's in the UK, has been slapped by Ofcom, that is Regulatory Institute in the UK, after accidentally announcing the death of King Charles. So, whoops. Back in May, the Barry Marsh show, the Essex station, played the pre-recorded messages meant only for after an actual royal death. The program saying that it was suspended as a mark of respect, followed by the national anthem and 16 minutes of dead air. So the entire situation, after all of this played out, it took nearly a half an hour for the station to get on and to issue the apology. And it ends up, what happened is the person that did this, the DJ, the presenter that did this, he was just curious. He apparently was working there. He ran across these fouls. It was like, oh, royal death fouls, and then just sort of accidentally played them live over the air. Didn't know how to stop it because he was relatively new, so he just left the building.
It's sort of like one of those break glass to pull the fire alarm things. It's a little wild to me that UK radio stations, I guess, just have this prepackaged audio ready in the event of London Bridge falling, whatever they called it when the Queen passed away. I mean, there's like all sorts of protocols over there for that. It's really, it's fascinating, really.
It is crazy. And stuff like that happens here quite often. We'll see where no bid accidentally gets put out or something like that. But there's no state policy that gets the publisher in trouble. Like they issue a retraction and it's not that big of a deal. But this just reminds me so much. That presenter, the disc jockey, whoever it was, man, at some point down the line, we're probably going to work with that cat, and we're going to hear this story, because how many times have working in this industry have we heard a story like that? Like, radio stories are the best stories, and this sounds exactly like one that we would hear from some guy that we work with at some point in the future. It's just, to think that you just saw this thing, was like, the king died, huh? And then you just decide to play it.
That's
you
so
accidentally
wild.
put it out over there. I mean, I could almost recreate it in my head. Like, if I was relatively new and I was sitting in there and I was looking through some of the files, I was like, I wonder what this is like. I bet I can play it like and not go out over the air. Let's see what it would sound like. Oops, wait a minute. It's on the channel that's going out over there. How do I stop that? I don't know how to stop it. I'm just going to leave.
That's the part that, I mean, wouldn't you try to call someone first?
You would think. That's the part that gets me too. It's like, you're just going to abandon ship. I'm out of here.
Calling someone would be an admission of guilt.
This way, maybe there's plausible deniability.
Yeah.
Hey, I left and I don't know what happened.
I was using the restroom for 16 minutes.
You mean the king didn't die? My fault. Yeah, that pretty crazy stuff. But you have to be careful with the official information you get out there. You got to be kind of careful
That's like
about that.
accidentally starting a fire in your kitchen. So you leave the kitchen and leave the house, which is the safe thing to do, but then you don't call 911.
Yeah, right.
It's just like... Call somebody. Just call.
You're at like the diner having breakfast. Like, I don't know. I left the house and my kitchen was burning down. Well, what happened? I don't know.
I'm having waffles now.
Maybe it burned down. I really don't know. Yeah, that's a good point.
Presume that guy lost his job.
Yeah.
Probably didn't even go back, hopefully.
Yeah, what does it say? Does it say about his job? It says reprimanded. It doesn't specifically say in what way he was reprimanded.
Wow.
Yeah. So I didn't pull, like, I don't like to go heavy details with names and stuff like that. So I didn't pull all the heavy details from this, but it'd be interesting to know if what happened to him there. So anyway, don't accidentally announce that the king has died at any point during the show today.
I'll try not to.
And this just goes to show you that living in another country with a different cultural zeitgeist and the entire thing. In this year of 2026, when I saw this headline come up in like my trending dashboard or whatever, and it was like station mistakenly announces the death of the king, I was like, man, why are they still messing with Elvis?
Oh, jeez.
That was my legitimate thought. And it was like, oh, another country. Well, that makes sense.
Well,
I guess they don't mean Elvis.
Yeah.
Elvis and Tupac and whomever else, they're all on an island out in the Bermuda Triangle together anyway.
I bet they're having fun.
I'm sure they are.
You know,
Elvis is probably getting up there, but yeah.
A little bit, but man, I mean, living all these years without having to worry about the weight of celebrity, both figuratively and literally.
the weight.
Yeah, sorry. We're going to get a news update here in just a second. Before we do that, though, let's go ahead and get today's question of the day out here, because I have some questions about this too for our panel that we have here. So the question of the day today, this is another one of those things I was reading about, and I thought that this would be something that I would want to hear from you guys about. So, how's this county pronounced in Wisconsin, Matt?
It's a town. It's called Waukesha.
Waukesha. There we
It's
go.
a little bit west of Brookfield and New Berlin, spelled Berlin.
Oh, I knew that. I knew Berlin. I knew that.
I saw the
did not know.
Wienermobile in a July 4th parade there one time.
There we go. See, I knew I had my Wisconsin connection here. So a Waukesha, Wisconsin storage box turned up nearly 100 copies of a previously unknown Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt cartridge. The seller claimed Nintendo sent them to be melted for gold, but they survived. It never happened. Experts say the sticker, screws, manual, and motherboard all differ from known printings, making it one of the most documented games in preservation history with 0 prior sightings. Some copies are pristine enough to earn the first ever PSA 10 grade for an NES cartridge. 3 head to auction this month with estimates in the millions of dollars for these Nintendo game cartridges. So today's Salango Law question of the day is, what's a lost collectible from your past that you wish you still had, either for value or for sentimentality? A collectible from your past you wish you still had, either for value or sentimentality. You can text 304-825-5304. That's 304-TALK 304. Real briefly, I know that you said, Ryan, that you had something that fit right into this. What do you got?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I had a rare, I guess it's rare now, but it was sold at the time, you know. It was a Bionicle set. It was Takanuva, the Toe of Light, and I had it for ages. And then, like, once I grew up and gave my Legos away, I was curious about, like, how much it was going for, and I'm like, I need to find this thing. And so I was like, I called up my mom and I'm like, Mom, what did you do with all my Legos that I had as a kid? And she's like, oh, I gave it to so-and-so. And I'm like, we need to make sure he has that Bionicle. And lo and behold, I visit her like back when she lived in Virginia, and we visit the family. And it's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know what a Bionicle is. And I'm like, where did it go?
Did you get it?
No.
No.
It's gone now.
You wish you had it.
Yeah, I wish
good.
I had it.
That's pretty good. What was the value of it? You remember?
I don't remember.
But enough for you to want to get it.
It was more than what I paid for at the time.
Matt, anything off the top of your head?
You know, the question talking about NES and the Super Mario cartridge, I would love to have my original NES system and all of those games. Because I must have had, dozens and dozens of NES cartridges. And, you know, late childhood, newer things came along. I'm like, I don't need this. So it's all gone.
I don't know if it's for the NES or the Super NES, but they still offer like hardware repair services for those consoles.
That's so cool.
That is pretty cool. So I want to know what your responses are to this. Let me know what collectible you wish you still had, either for value or sentimentality. 304-825-5304, 304-TALK 304. Jeff Jenkins joining me now from the Metro News newsroom. Later on, I might tell the story, Jeff, that my answer to this is a baseball that I had when I worked at the Wheelers, that over the course of time, I had, among other people, but Chipper Jones and Yvonne Rodriguez on it, 2 future Hall of Famers that came through Charleston. And just like the Sandlot, we lost it playing actual baseball with it, and somebody hit a home run out of a softball field, and I lost that baseball. every time.
That's okay. I had a ball that was signed by like several members of the 76 Reds that I got. But the ink it wasn't very good ink.
So you never lost it? It just faded off?
Just kind of faded.
Oh, my goodness. That's terrible. That's
faded.
even worse than losing it, I think. It's like you have it, but there's no ink on it.
I had no idea what I was doing.
But still,
I was like in sixth grade. I really didn't know what I was doing. So, but anyway.
Well, anybody else out there, later on today, we're going to talk about how to build your collectibles and how not to make those mistakes, what type of ink to use and what type of materials to use when you do that. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later on.
Yeah.
I like stories like that, but the heartbreak of having lost them sometimes isn't so good.
Yeah.
Weather is sort of leading the day news-wise, but I know there's a lot going on, Jeff.
Yeah, so the weather, so basically the line of storms that we had in West Virginia now a couple of hours ago has kind of exited the state. Now there's more that's back toward the west in Ohio and Kentucky that we could get and probably will get some parts of the state. What the Weather Service has done now, though, they've issued what they call an aerial flood warning. So they basically have canceled the flash flood warnings and did like a general flood warning because of runoff. And so those counties until 6:15, parts of Kanawha, Roane, Jackson, Mason, and Putnam, they're under a flood warning until 6:15. The whole state is basically under severe thunderstorm watch. But the flood warning, because in the warned area, 2 to 4 inches has fallen today, and you're getting the runoff. So there have been some water rescues, and just it appears that it's been a lot of just kind of low-lying areas that tend to get some flooding if we get the hard rain, and so that's kind of what's happened today. But we'll watch those things coming. At the top of the hour, next hour, 4 o'clock, the legislature is wrapping up their interim committee meetings. But what we're watching this 4 o'clock meeting is discussion on this school clothing voucher program. That's up for discussion here at the top of the hour. So a lot of people want to hear what's said about that. And also, Brad McElhaney has the story posted. The IRS, federal IRS, has now filed $8 million in liens on employment taxes for the Greenbrier Resort.
Kind of wondered when that was coming.
Yeah, so now we had the federal IRS. We've had the state file some liens, now the federal IRS.
Oh, that story keeps on developing. That's pretty crazy. That's I know that as far as the clothing voucher, that story comes up at 4, so we'll get an update on that a little bit later on.
Yep.
Appreciate it, Jeff. Thanks a bunch. That's Jeff Jenkins from the Metro News Newsroom. More stories followed along on the day at WVMetroNews.com. We need to take a break. We'll be back after this.
Of course, the LVA was brought into my life because I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
Where he was in the course, we really had to go towards an LVAD.
At that point, I was committed. At that point, I wanted to get better, and I wanted to see what this machine was going to do for me.
With this therapy, he's thriving, doing well. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
I'm Sean Kovich, Mountaineer Golf Coach. When disaster strikes your home, business, or golf game, call the restoration company the Mountaineers call. Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Our commitment doesn't stop when you drive off the lot. With factory-trained technicians and a service team you can trust, we're here to keep your vehicle running at its best for years to come. So when it's time to get your next vehicle, choose the dealership that's been serving the community for generations. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world!
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. and they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
Football season begins right here on Metro News Television. Join us Thursday, August 27th for the 2026 WVSSAC kickoff game. Presented by the Army National Guard. The Cameron Dragons battle the Clay Battelle Seabees live from Blacksville. Don't miss the first kickoff of the new season. The 2026 WVSSAC kickoff game. Thursday, August 27th at 7 p.m. Pre-game coverage starts at 6:30 p.m. Powered by GoMart. Only on Metro News Television.
This is Hotline, presented by Salango Law on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Greer Industries, improving people's lives for more than a century.
It has already been a wet start to our Tuesday out there, and now we'll continue to watch for some wet weather to move through as we head into the afternoon, evening hours, as we are going to be watching for some showers and thunderstorms to push through the area. Now, some of these have the potential to be severe. We're talking damaging winds. Wind gusts could be higher than 75 miles per hour, along with some tornadoes going to be possible as well. Yes, we're under a severe weather threat as we head into the day today. We're at a slight risk to just to the west up to this enhanced risk here. So wanting to stay very weather aware as we do watch these unsettled conditions move through as we head into the afternoon and some evening hours, continuing to watch for some of those heavier downpours and some flooding concerns across the area. So we are going to continue to keep a very close eye on that. We're also tracking severe weather as we take a look at our Fly CRW forecast. It starts at home. Unsettled weather for many as we head not only in the day today, but as we head through the next several days as well. So for your Panhandle, the Panhandle forecast, watching for these showers and storms to develop as we head into the afternoon, into some of those evening hours today, wanting to stay very weather aware with temperatures across the board looking in the 80s, some even hitting 90 degrees, 91 in Huntington as we head into the day today. So today we're watching for the severe weather. We'll continue to watch for some showers and storms as we head into midweek. Temperatures look to heat up on Thursday and then stay warm as we head into the weekend as we continue to watch for some additional shower and thunderstorm activity. So stay safe out there.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
If it matters in West Virginia, it's being talked about here.
I always said I was going to move to a mountain in Tucker County, but probably going to put a data center on it, so I got to find a new plan.
Oh, you did not.
Oh, I did. Told you I was a little grumpy today.
Oh, man, you got some zingers today, Dave. I love it.
Join Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows Monday through Friday for Talkline. Available on mobile, Roku, Fire TV, smart TVs, and online at WVMetroNewsTV.com.
When you hired me,
you were 29. You seemed like you were 50 when you were 29. You were running that thing like a 50-year-old man. All right, we got to go get some tape. Come on, get out of there.
I think I've sort of always been 50, and I think I'm 50 now.
Yeah, me too.
That's
me too.
a great point.
Join Tony Caridi, Brad Howe, and Hoppy Kercheval for Three Guys Before the Game. Metro News Television. Available on mobile, Roku, Fire TV, smart TVs, and online at WVMetroNewsTV.com.
27 minutes to the top of the hour. I'm Dale Cooper. This is Metro News Hotline. Coming up in about 10, 12 minutes or so, we're going to talk about today is Raspberry Tart Day. You know how every day is a holiday of some kind that you've probably never heard of before. And one of the many holidays that are today is Raspberry Tart Day, which actually has a kind of an interesting history to it altogether, including its kind of place in pop culture that you may not think about so much. And I was doing some research into this last night, and my daughter ended up helping me do it. My daughter Essie, who's 8, was helping me with the research, and so we ended up coming up with a little bit about it. So you're going to learn about raspberry tarts just a little bit, and an interesting little pop culture tidbit that's related to it. And then I'm going to be assisted by my daughter Essie. That will be coming up here in a little over 10 minutes or so, and we'll see how that goes. I think that we'll have a good time doing it. So my daughter will be joining us here in a few minutes. We're going to learn about raspberry tarts. But before we do that, and before we do the Sound of Sports, let's reset today's question of the day, because I want to hear your all's responses to this. I've already got good responses from Ryan and Matt, so let's hear them from you as well. Wisconsin Storage Box turned up nearly 100 copies of previously unknown Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt cartridges. The seller claimed that Nintendo sent them to be melted down, but they never made it, and they survived. Experts say the stickers, screws, manual, motherboard all differ from known printings, making it one of the most documented games in preservation history, with 0 prior sightings. Some copies are pristine enough to earn the first ever PSA 10 grade for an NES cartridge. And we're going to have Steve Whittington on from Select Cards and Collectibles in a little while. We'll ask him about this and that PSA 10 grade, which I guess is very unusual to get. These 3 cartridges are going to head to auction later this month, with estimates being in the millions for each of them. So the Salango Law question of the day today is, what's a lost collectible from your past that you wish you still had, either for value or for sentimentality? A collectible from your past, a lost collectible from your past that you wish you still had, either for value or sentimentality. You can text 304-825-5304. That's 304-TALK-304, or you can get a hold of me on various social medias, text me directly, whatever it may be. From the 801-641, this is from Matt in Utah. I wish I had my Vectrex video game system. I had about 15 games in the optional pen drawing system when I sold it in the early 2000s. I always wanted the keyboard, but I never got it. Coop, Matt, and Ryan. This is coming from the 805-588. This is kind of long, so I'll try to get through this. In November of 1998, the highly anticipated Zelda Ocarina of Time game was released. If you pre-ordered it through Toys R Us, you got a limited edition gold collared cartridge. The regular version was gray. I saved up for a year at 12 years old to pre-order it. So I got the limited gold edition, plus it was the first video game I ever purchased with my own cash. Tragically lost it years ago when my storage unit was broken into it. Now they sell it on eBay for hundreds of dollars. Man, that's definitely true. I've heard stories similar to that before, but that's terrible, man. Let's see, from the 304-437, this is from Bill and Nitro. Hey, Coop and Ryan and Matt, I'm not sure if this applies to the question, but I miss my 1968 Sky Blue Chevy Chevelle. I was 18 and didn't appreciate what I had at the time. I wish I didn't sell it. Man, I hear that. This isn't quite as vintage, but in the late 90s, I had a 1980 Chevy S10 Custom Deluxe short bed pickup truck.
Oh, yeah.
That was in mint condition. That thing, it had a red sport stripe. It was black with red trim. It was gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And I'll let somebody in my family talk me out of keeping that vehicle. Oh, you need something more reliable. Oh, you need to get a newer car. Oh, you need to. There was nothing wrong with it. It got like 11 miles a gallon. That was the worst thing about it. It didn't get good gas mileage. But otherwise, it was beautiful and mint. And man, that was a vehicle I wish I kept for, another 6 or 8 years or something, because every car I had after that was junk.
We just never realized what we have until it's 20 years down the road, and you're like, wow, that really was way cooler than I thought it was at the time.
Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt. Stuff like that happens all the time. So thank you for your responses. We have more coming in. I'm getting some pictures coming in too. So I'll get into these a little bit later on, and we'll get into collectibles from your past, lost collectibles from your past, that you will still wish you had, either for value or sentimentality. 304-825-5304. Let's do the sound of sports. Let's start in college football, where Coach Rich Rodriguez for the Mountaineers had a chance to meet with media. He had a media availability yesterday. Things have changed in college football. Rod is in year 2 of round 2 with West Virginia University. But Coach Rodriguez noted that players must adapt to the way the game is played today with NIL and everything else. That includes fan criticism.
Those that follow the game and those of you that cover the game are going to say what it is, and players have to be adapted to it. It's like booing players, right? Like in the NFL, you boo those guys. Those guys are getting a lot of money. You pay for your ticket. You got every right to boo them. Well, now, I can't. We ain't gonna get upset if you boo a college player because they're getting paid. You know what I mean? So they got to take that pro approach and understand that they maybe, if you're not playing well and the fans are paying good money to come to the games and they boo you or whatever, hey, that's part of the deal. And I think before I would have said that, hey, they're college guys, give them a little break, whatever. But now I can't say that. Now it's like they got every right to boo.
What a paradigm shift, right? I mean, that's something we would never accepted in college sports not that long ago. But, I think Coach has a point. They're basically paid professionals at this point. So, fans are investing in the game too, right? Let's see. Let's move across state, go south a little bit, where we hear from Marshall Thundering Herd coach Tony Gibson. This is a couple days old. This is after their practice they had on Saturday, where Coach Gibson, in part, is focusing on depth this summer and is glad to have playmaker Bookie Trotter back on the team.
Yeah, it's good, and iron sharpens iron. I want these guys as much as we can, because once we get into the season, it's a lot of scout teamwork. Just planning for your opponents and doing different things. But right now it's all about how good can we get and how can we build our depth. So I really like it when we're one-on-ones and 2s versus 2s and let these guys compete a little bit. Boogie's one of the most productive guys in our league last year, and especially on our football team. To get that back, the leadership that he brings, the energy that he brings. So he is, he's in great shape too. So, he's been working and doing things, and, it's really like he didn't miss a beat. He came back ready to go, and he's a joy to have around.
Let's move over to Major League Baseball now. The Reds and the Pirates were both off last night. So let's start with the Eastern Panhandle report. And unfortunately, Minnesota topped the Orioles last night by a score of 9-5. Minnesota broke it open with a 5-run seventh. Austin Martin went 4 for 5 with a homer and 3 runs scored. Josh Bell added a 3-run shot. In Baltimore's bullpen, it imploded. Rico Garcia recorded 0 outs and gave up 4 runs. Tonight, Orioles at Minnesota again. First pitch, 7:40.
The 1-1. In the hole, base hit left field. Kreidler scores. Here comes Austin Martin. The throw to the plate is not in time. Brian Jeffers with a 7th-inning 2-run single, and the Twins have a 4-1 lead.
Well, since Matt's my producer today, that means that we always have to do Brewers highlights. Unfortunately for Matt and the Brewers, San Diego edged Milwaukee in a tight one at Petco last night to open up their series.
One of the reasons he's still in. This is driven to deep center. Mitchell back at the wall. Gone! Merrill Madness dead center. Padres take a 3-2 lead. One swing of the bat.
That San Diego crowd sounded nice too, I have to admit.
Well, and I tell you, they got a great radio crew out there in San Diego.
That's
one of my
favorites.
favorites.
Listen to. I agree with you completely there. Padres 3, Brewers 2. Those two square off again tonight. First pitch, 9:40. Moving on to the Braves and the Mets. The Mets win 8-5. New York jumped Bryce Elder for 5 in the first inning and never trailed. Brett Beatty's grand slam did most of the damage, and Francisco Lindor went 3 for 5 with a homer and scored 3 times. Eller was tagged for 7 runs in 5 innings.
Loaded and 2 out. And he flies one to deep right center field. Back goes Harris to the warning track, looking up, and it's out of here. Brett Beatty with a grand slam. Ronnie's pick to click, and he clicks for 4 runs.
And moving on to, well, let's see, the Mets in Atlanta, they square off again tonight as well. Their first pitch is going to be 7:15. Phillies and Cardinals. Cardinals tried to make a comeback last night, but ended up dropping the game. And Mundo Sosa drove in 3, and Kyle Schwarber added an RBI as Philadelphia held on. St. Louis rallied for 3 in the 8th, and he had rallied for 3 in the 8th and cut it to 1, but could never take the lead. 2 Cardinals errors did hurt in the game.
Fly ball out toward right center field. It's a bullet, and it is going to stay in the yard. A one-hop off the wall. Stubbs around third, heading for home. And he's going to score. RBI double for Schwarber. And the Phillies' lead is back to 2.
6-5 was the final, and the Philadelphia Phillies and St. Louis Cardinals again tonight at 7:45. Dodgers and Royals last night. Dodgers got back into the winning column where Tarek Scoble's Dodger debut was a little rocky. 5 innings, 3 runs, a homer allowed. But Freddie Freeman went 3 for 4. Max Muncy drove in 3. And Shohei Ohtani added 2 hits and 2 runs. Jacques Carleone and Kyle Isbell both homered for Kansas City. Edwin Diaz got the save for the Dodgers.
The first, the 3-2 pitch to Freddie Freeman. Ground ball, base hit right field. Ohtani rounds, Marte's throw, doesn't matter. Shohei scores. Freeman's out at second, but the Dodgers have hopped back in front, 6-5.
Royals at the Dodgers tonight, and that's going to be a 10-10 first pitch. And then finally, Charles McAdoo homered, and Andres Jimenez drove in the other run as Toronto scratched out 2 on Sonny Gray, who otherwise went 6 strong innings for the Red Sox. Boston went 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position.
Line drive, base hit. Springer getting the wave. Abreu's got a great arm, but it's dropped at the plate, and Springer scores.
And so that final was 2-1. Blue Jays over the Red Sox. Red Sox at Toronto tonight. 7:07 is the first pitch there. Let's go ahead and take a break. We'll come back and we'll learn about raspberry tarts when we return. You're listening to Hotline on Metro News.
Hi, I'm Julie Wilkins, a designer at Civil and Environmental Consultants. CEC was my first choice when I wanted to return to West Virginia to work and be closer to family. As a designer using AutoCAD and ArcGIS, I collaborate across all departments on diverse projects. CEC is employee-owned with over 30 offices nationwide and 3 right here in West Virginia. We provide top-notch engineering solutions. At CEC, we engineer progress in the great state of West Virginia.
Find out what CEC can do for you. Visit cecinc.com.
Metro News Hotline, brought to you by Salango Law, will return right after these messages.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Our commitment doesn't stop when you drive off the lot. With factory-trained technicians and a service team you can trust, we're here to keep your vehicle running at its best for years to come. So when it's time to get your next vehicle, choose the dealership that's been serving the community for generations. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
Of course, the LVAD was brought into my life because I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
Where he was in the course, we really had to go towards an LVAD.
At that point, I was committed. At that point, I wanted to get better, and I wanted to see what this machine was going to do for me.
With this therapy, he's thriving, doing well. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
If it matters in West Virginia, it's being talked about here.
I always said I was going to move to a mountain in Tucker County, but probably going to put a data center on it, so I got to find a new plan.
Join Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows for Talkline on Metro News Television. Sportsline on Metro News Television.
I was sitting with a guy last night, and he said, all right, I'm going to go put $1,000 on it. Well, down the stretch of that ball game, he's looking at us like, are you kidding me? Sure enough, the Mountaineers came back. I saw him today. He said, yep, I'm putting another grand on them tomorrow.
It is 10 minutes to the top of the hour. You're listening to Metro News Hotline. I'm Dale Cooper, and did you know today is Raspberry Tart Day? Well, I found that out last night. I was doing some work, and my daughter helped me write a little bit of the history of the Raspberry Tart, and my daughter Essie is joining me now. How you doing, darling?
Good. I'm doing so good. Hello, everyone.
We're doing very well, honey. So we're going to learn about the Raspberry Tart today. Are you ready?
Yes, I am so ready.
Okay, so the Raspberry Tart has a longer history than you'd think, and a much stranger one. The story loosely goes back to medieval Europe, where monks and nuns baked early fruit tarts by hand, long before sugar made them sweet. Once sugar arrived, French bakers turned it into their signature dessert, the tarte aux framboises. The English took their own direction too and turned it into the Manchester tart, raspberry jam, custard, coconut, and a cherry on top. It is credited to the legendary cookbook writer Mrs. Beeton. But here's the part worth remembering. In Britain, raspberry tart became a Cockney rhyming slang for fart. Over time, people dropped the second word and just said raspberry. That's the actual origin of blowing a raspberry, the rude sound you make with your lips. And because it sounded so innocent, post-war British comedians used it to slip crude jokes right past the BBC censors. I know, right? It even got its own comedy legacy. Spike Milligan and Ronnie Barker built an entire sketch around it, the Phantom Raspberry Blower of Old London Town.
So are you basically saying that the next time someone goes with their mouth, they are basically quoting a dessert?
Yeah, basically. So, Essie, happy Raspberry Tart Day.
Thank you so much.
Now we're going to hear a clip from the show. Stay with me.
Good evening, sir. Can I assist you? Yes. Is the Prime Minister in? Yes, he is. But he sees nobody without an appointment, except Miss Maureen Body. Will you give him my card? There is no address, sir. I know. I'm never in. Is there any message? Yes. Tell him this.
So, Essie, after hearing a clip of the Phantom Raspberry Blower of London Town, do you think you want to see it?
Yes. Yes.
All right, then maybe we can look into doing that. I have the video saved. So thank you for helping me do research into the Raspberry Tart.
You're so welcome.
And you be good for your mommy, and I'll see you when I get home in a little bit, okay?
Okay.
Say bye to everybody.
I say unicorn. Bye, I hope you had fun talking with me. Bye-bye.
Bye, sweetheart. So there you have it, the history of the raspberry tart, and a bonus, the history of the raspberry.
There you go.
You learn something every day.
Things I didn't know I needed to know.
Didn't know you needed to know those, and this is Metro News Hotline. We'll take a break and be back right after this.
Metro News Hotline, presented by Salango Law, will return right after these messages.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Our commitment doesn't stop when you drive off the lot. With factory-trained technicians and a service team you can trust, we're here to keep your vehicle running at its best for years to come. So when it's time to get your next vehicle, choose the dealership that's been serving the community for generations. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
Of course, the LVA was brought into my life because I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
Where he was in the course, we really had to go towards an LVAD.
At that point, I was committed. At that point, I wanted to get better, and I wanted to see what this machine was going to do for me.
With this therapy, he's thriving, doing well. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
I'm Sean Kovich, Mountaineer Golf Coach. When disaster strikes your home, business, or golf game, call the restoration company the Mountaineers call. Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Football season begins right here on Metro News Television. Join us Thursday, August 27th for the 2026 WVSSAC kickoff game. Presented by the Army National Guard. The Cameron Dragons battle the Clay Battelle Seabees live from Blacksville. Don't miss the first kickoff of the new season, the 2026 WVSSAC kickoff game, Thursday, August 27th at 7 p.m. Pre-game coverage starts at 6:30 p.m. Powered by GoMart, only on Metro News Television.
It's time for a hotline hot mess.
Well, hold on to your butts on this one anyway. Scientists say that poop pills, fecal transplants from allergy-free donors, could be a game changer for people with peanut allergies. In a small trial of 15 adults, researchers at Boston Children's Hospital found the treatment helped participants tolerate peanuts months later by transferring healthy gut bacteria. Responders showed changes tied to immune cells that guard against allergic reactions, and mouse studies suggested that the method could work on other food allergies too, not just peanuts. Over 33 million Americans live with food allergies, but don't expect this at your pharmacy anytime soon. Researchers say that full regulatory approval could still be about a decade away, which it is with most emergent technologies. But Matt, what do you think about fecal pills, poop pills to cure your allergies. You suffer allergies pretty bad, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, the shellfish thing for me, I mean, if it works, I don't know. I mean, because by the time they get this all, like, the science worked out.
Right? Yeah, right.
Yeah, I just don't tell me where it's from.
I mean, because I have to tell you that as far my daughter was just on the line with us, and she has, I can't remember the name of exactly what it's called. She basically has very sensitive skin in general.
Oh yeah,
and she'll get hives and break out relatively easy with a lot of different things and stuff like that. It's not a massive effect on her life, but it is uncomfortable. Right. It does affect her. She gets itchy a lot, and we have to be. But if I could get rid of those things for her, where she never had to deal with them at all.
The ones I worry, I don't worry. The ones that I feel the worst for are the people that can't have gluten.
Oh, I know, yeah. Like legitimately can't.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
We used to have someone here that worked here that had the gluten allergy, and I just think about all the food that she missed out on.
Yeah, right.
I love food. I love flavors. I love comfort food. And a lot of that stuff has gluten in it, and you just can't have it.
And nearly 100%, and I know this from when I went through all that weight loss several years ago, here in the radio building, generally speaking, unless Millie Snyder's bringing something in, generally speaking, when people give us food, it's not the best food for you. Now I can eat it. It's okay. But back then, I had to be like, nope, can't eat it at all. And
there's a lot of donuts in this place.
There is a lot of donuts, which... You can bring donuts even now if you want to. We're not complaining.
Yeah, we won't say no. No.
Virginia Street, come on in. I kind of like Donut Connection personally. All right, that's going to do it for us for this hour. We'll come back. Dave Bryan from Steelers Depot will join us around the corner. Thanks for tuning in. The Hotline on Metro News. We are the voice of West Virginia.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
Hello, I'm meteorologist Brandon Weathers. We will continue to see multiple rounds of thunderstorms presenting some severe conditions, the main concern being damaging winds. We may also see some 1-inch hail or tornado spin out, but our greatest threat is flooding. We've already had some communities measuring a couple inches of rainfall, multiple rounds through Thursday night. By Friday morning, drier air starting to work into the region. The severe risk through Tuesday, widespread slight risk enhanced toward Huntington. Then this is also our time frame with the greatest potential for flooding, a moderate risk for western West Virginia. By Wednesday, a marginal risk for some damaging winds still. Parkersburg on the northern edge of that, Lewisburg, Charleston, these areas, and the slight risk for excessive rainfall. By Thursday, the slight risk is back going north and east. Fortunately, by Thursday, our severe threat starts to diminish. But for today, we had the late morning, early afternoon round, then our late afternoon to evening round of storms moving from northwest to southeast. By midnight, severe threat is improving, but we could still see the rain piling up, leading to elevated rivers, creeks, and streams, especially over southwestern portions of West Virginia. FlyCRW forecast, it starts at home. Summer heat is building across a large swath of the southern and south central, southeastern U.S. Meanwhile, Chicago, if you're traveling that way, you can expect some more comfortable conditions the later part of the week. Panhandle to panhandle forecast, bottoming out in mid to upper 60s overnight, then low to mid 80s on Wednesday looking north. Further east, Martinsburg, 68 for a low, then 87 on Wednesday. We'll see Elkins at 66 overnight, then 73 for a high in Snowshoe, going west for some mid-80s. Marlinton, 65 overnight. Then Charleston, 86 on our Wednesday. Gradually trending warmer on Sunday with the drier air. More wet weather early next week.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
This is Metro News Hotline, presented by Salango Law. Metro News Hotline is a 3-hour audio tour, navigating the world of sports, news, entertainment, tech, and more from a Mountain State point of view. Hotline is a no-politics zone. You can join the conversation. Text the show at 304-825-5304. 304-TALK-304. Once again, filling in for Dave Weekly is Dale Cooper.
Hour number 2, how do you do? It is 6 minutes past 4 o'clock. You're listening to Metro News Hotline. I'm Dale Cooper here on this Tuesday afternoon. You know, I don't know how long it's going to last, at least here in the Kanawha Valley. Just went up to my office to get a couple things in the break, looked outside, and there were rays of sunshine coming down out of the clouds, and it's not raining, and there's no water on on our parking lot at the moment.
Well, you've jinxed us now.
Yeah, I know that that's not going to last. I know that there's other events in the area. I was just surprised to look outside, and it looks like a kind of a decent evening at the moment. I know it won't last.
I'm sure it's humid out there. I'm kind of glad to be down here in the pit.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's good points to be made about that. That's Matt Murphy, by the way. Joining me on the other side of the glass, I'm Dale Cooper. This is Metro News Hotline coming up in just a few minutes. We got Dave Bryan from Steelers Depot. We're going to update on what's happening in Steelers camp right now. Tons of stuff that we'll get into with Dave. At the bottom of the hour at 4:33, we're going to be joined by Steve Whittington from Select Cards and Collectibles. I'm going to talk to Steve a little bit more today from a general standpoint of building an elite collection. So whether it's memorabilia of some kind, cards, whatever it is that you're collecting, some of the things to go through to build an elite collection safely, some of the resources to go through, how to make sure you're getting your money's worth out of things. And then a little later on in the program, in the 5 o'clock hour, I'm going to have Don Wilson, who's an insurance agent for Capital Insurance Group here in Charleston. And he does a show with me locally here and has a great presentation on how to protect your collectibles. And so we're going to talk to Don a little bit about that. So we're going to find out how to build a huge collectible collection and then how to protect those collectibles. So that's going to be in the 4 and 5 o'clock hours respectively, and plus so much more that we're going to get into here during the course of the afternoon. Before we get to Dave Bryan, let's go ahead and reset today's question of the day. We've been getting some responses to this, and I want to get more of them out there when we get a chance to. Wisconsin Storage Box turned up nearly 100 copies of a previously unknown Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt cartridge. The seller claimed Nintendo sent them to be melted down, but they never made it there, and they survived. Experts say that the sticker, screws, manual, and motherboard all differ from known pairings, making it one of the most documented games in preservation history with 0 prior sightings. Some copies are pristine enough to earn the first ever PSA 10 grade for an NES cartridge. 3 head to auction later this month, with estimates being in the millions. The Salango Law Question of the day today is, what's a lost collectible from your past that you wish you still had, either for value or sentimentality? What is a collectible from your past, a lost collectible from your past that you wish you still had, either for value or sentimentality? You can text 304-825-5304. That's 304-TALK-304. From the 304-216, Coop, I have a deflated basketball from 1958 signed by Jerry West and the WVU basketball team who won the championship at the Kentucky Invitational. It also has Adolph Ruff's signature on it. The problem is the bladder inside has rotted over the years and is flat now. I wish I had taken better care of it. You know, that's actually a good question. We might ask Steve about that. If the signatures are intact, what does it matter for the structure of the ball? I wonder. I mean, I'm sure it has some depreciating effect, but the signature should be the value there, right?
I think there might be a way to fix that.
And there might be a professional that, because I know sometimes on restoration on things like that, there might be a way that you can restore that to where collectors would be happy with it, and you still get to maintain the value of it. I don't know.
If nothing else, I mean, just to make it more presentable, even if it doesn't necessarily change or up the value.
Well, you know what, 304-216, I am going to, as we speak, I'm going to take this over into Steve's segment that's coming up a little bit later on, and I'm going to paste it down there, and that's something I'm going to ask him, because maybe there's some hope for that thing. You know, that may not be something that you have completely lost as far as value goes, but that is a really good one.
I could see someone being able to maybe insert a new bladder into the ball and essentially just kind of inflate that inside of what already exists there. That's there's some possibility, I bet there.
Yeah, I bet you're right about that. From the 304-216, this is a different 216, a vintage miniature wooden souvenir bat featuring a signature of Roberto Clemente. Let me see. Some of them were hand-signed. So this person sent me it's a screenshot of a description of the bat, and there's 2 different kinds. There's one with a printed signature that's worth about $50, and one with a authenticated signature that's worth up to $7,500. So I don't know which one that the listener has. One could have sentimental value, obviously. The other one could be more monetary. Doesn't matter to me. But I am curious, listener, on which one of those that you had between the Clemente mini bats, if it was one with his actual signature or the stamp signature on it. But thanks for sending that in. I'm looking forward to more of your responses throughout the afternoon. So let me know a lost collectible that you wish you still had, whether it be for sentimentality or for value. You can text 304-825-5304. That's 304-TALK. 304. Let's go ahead and get to Dave Bryan from Steelers Depot. We got tons of stuff that we can talk about today. Dave is joining me from Steelers Depot. You can find more information online at SteelersDepot.com. Dave, good afternoon. How you doing today?
Dale, happy Tuesday. Glad to be with you and Matt today. I got to know right off the top, have you been watching the Hard Knocks Seattle Seahawks?
I have them queued up.
So
I have not. I know the second episode comes out tonight. I might watch it. I might watch it for the first time this weekend and binge a couple episodes back to back.
That might be the way to do it there. All right. I had to get that one out of the way.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to it. You know, I'm a little bit, it's one of those things that's like, if, like I really didn't want him to do it. It's like I feel like there's a little bit of a curse that's attached to that thing. You know, I don't really like him being in there. But since they're going to do it anyway, man, I might as well watch. You know.
Yeah, exactly. You know, with me, I've seen so many of them over the years now. It's almost like the laws of diminishing returns now. That man, and it feels like they have too much control over their content now, and they leave the good stuff on the cutting room floor.
I think you're right.
And all like that. But with all that said, I'll have it queued up. about tonight. Who am I fooling?
Yeah, that's right. So episode 2 that debuts tonight, and of course that's with your world champion Seattle Seahawks on
throw that in.
on Netflix tonight on Hard Knocks. This is like, what is this, the 22nd season of this show or something like that? It's incredible.
Man, yeah, it's hard to believe it's been over 20 years now. Certainly is. I can remember back to the early days with Bryan was the head coach of the Ravens way back when, and the Cowboys from many moons ago and all. But it's come a long way. It's surprising it's still around, but it must get the eyeballs.
You are right though. There was something about it at first where the access that you got really seemed to be a little extraordinary. Like you saw some things that maybe you weren't supposed to see, or obviously it was all edited, but it seemed like you had a greater amount of access. And you're right, when you watch them now, it seems way more sanitized than it did maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's like eating a 5th Krispy Kreme donut at this point.
It's still good, but after the 5th one,
Yeah, exactly.
That's good stuff. Dave Bryan, of course, is joining me. More information online at SteelersDepot.com. So let's get into it a little bit. There's pigskin in hands just right around the corner. That doesn't get any better than that.
Hallelujah. After all this time with the build-up and all the off-season talk and then training camp being underway the last couple of weeks here, the Pittsburgh Steelers will finally play their first preseason game on Thursday night, and strangely enough, against the Green Bay Packers, and that game will be at Acrisure. And if you're out of market area fan, you can watch it live on the NFL Network there. So that's something to look forward to. Mike McCarthy met the media this morning. And they tried to get out of him who was going to play, who's not going to play, and unfortunately didn't get a lot of information out of him. I think one of the main things we learned that unfortunately rookie first-round draft pick, the tackle Max Ionichor, he's been dealing with a little bit of a neck shoulder type issue from a couple of days ago in camp. It sounds very unlikely that he's going to make his debut against the Packers. So that's sad. You always want to see your first round draft pick out there playing. It feels like we're going to have to wait at least until the second preseason game for that to happen. And the other kind of mystery here is, Mike McCarthy has kind of given at least indications that Aaron Rodgers will play during the preseason. Now, he left the door open to Aaron Rodgers playing on Thursday night against the Packers. Aaron will play if has to play, but you could tell in the interview that Aaron gave today that football's football. This isn't real football, and that he doesn't see that there's a lot to gain by playing any during the preseason. So it'll be interesting. And McCarthy said they were going to make a lot of those decisions tonight, and that's obviously they're not going to have media access until the game time. So we're going to be waiting. It seems like up until probably about an hour before game time to find out if some of these guys are going to play. Now, hopefully we'll see both the young quarterbacks and Will Howard and Drew Aller play quite a bit. I think that's the expectation when it comes to this game. I think all the other Steelers draft picks, it feels like, other than Max Ionichor, should be healthy enough to play. So that's exciting to think about. And then Mike McCarthy also kind of laid out the fact that whoever does play, they're going to be kind of like 3 groups in this. They're going to have the first group to come out, probably play on both sides of the football, probably a couple of series. And then the second group probably until halftime or maybe slightly past that. And then obviously the third group of players will play the rest of the game there. So pretty standard where that goes. The sad thing is we really didn't get really hardcore answers on whether or not Aaron Rodgers is going to play and what maybe the quarterback rotation might be.
A couple of things about that as far as I can almost sort of see. Like there's a part of me that's like, hey, man, this is the game. You're paid the contract. You need to practice. You need to make sure you're going out there. But at the same time, when you have the amount of years that Aaron Rodgers has in the league, right, as many passes as he's thrown and everything else, honestly, arm strength, mobility, health, things along those lines probably are more important to Aaron Rodgers at this point than getting 25 snaps in game situations between now and the start of the season. I mean, one guy rolling on his leg wrong, one throw that he makes the wrong way and pulls out his shoulder or something like that. I mean, at that age and what he's talking about, I kind of see his point there.
Yeah, and look, here's the other thing. Here is the two starting wide receivers are a little banged up coming out of the night practice on Saturday. DK Metcalf and Michael Pittman. In fact, I think Aaron said that neither one of those guys practiced today. So odds are pretty good that you're not going to see Michael Pittman Jr., not going to see DK Metcalf play because of being held out just because of some minor injuries. So if you don't have those two guys on the field, what's the reason to really put Aaron Rodgers out there, on top of it, even if it is just for, let's say, 6 plays, because all it takes is something to go wrong in one of those 6 plays, and your quarterback could be shelved for half the season, if not the full season on top of it. And here's the other thing, too, on the offensive side of football, you got a lot of carryover from last year. Sure, Michael Pittman Jr. is new. Sure, Rico Dowdle, one of the running backs, is new there. But outside of that, and outside of a couple of draft picks, this is a lot of the returning offense from last year. I mean, do you really? I know it's a new offense with Mike McCarthy, but Aaron Rodgers obviously has run that offense under McCarthy during the Green Bay Packer days. So, I mean, it's like 6 to 8 plays really is the risk worth the reward to run those plays with Aaron Rodgers out there, especially at his age, and especially when you consider that maybe they're probably going to be a good chance that Michael Pittman Jr. and DK Metcalf aren't out there. But they don't pay me to make those decisions, so I'll sit back and watch.
Well, last question that I wanted to ask you about, and I'll get you out of here on this, because I think it's kind of interesting with Mike McCarthy coming back with almost said Brett Favre with Aaron Rodgers. How should Steelers fans either temper their expectations or right-size expectations going into this season? Because you want to think, hey, this is the guy that got Aaron Rodgers his Super Bowl, or Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback that got McCarthy his ring. However you want to look at it, they're back together. We're a decade past that point. And I just wonder, where do you fall as far as expectations go? Do you expect for this to make Rodgers a better quarterback than he was last year? Is it just going to be like a comfort role for him? What do you think that's going to resolve in?
Yeah, and this is where I kind of differ from a lot of Steeler fans that might have the black and gold glasses on and on. Look, Aaron Rodgers is a fine quarterback. Defenses that he face, he's going to know. He's going to be able to break those down and decipher those. I don't worry about Aaron Rodgers at his age above the neck. I mean, that's always good. I think his arm strength is fine. I mean, we saw that the other night at the high school in the night scrimmage. I mean, he could still zip the football, put it in tight areas. The question I have with him, though, is just, if you look at him over the last 4 or 5 years here, he's had a problem pushing the football down the field consistently. And when you talk about attempted air yards and completed air yards, those just haven't been there. And when you look too over the last couple of seasons that he's played, he's one of the quarterbacks that gets the football out quicker than any other quarterback in the league. And when you get the football out that quick on average, it's hard to hang back in the pocket and put it down the field. If there's one thing that hurt this Steelers team, especially last year, was the lack of explosive plays, the lack of completions down the field. And I think he'll be a little better in a more familiar offense like Mike McCarthy. And then obviously you add in the likes of Michael Pittman Jr. and Rico Dowdle there. But other than that, I'm not expecting a huge uptick in his overall play, and maybe statistic wise, but the main benefit of having Aaron Rodgers is if you can keep it a close game, and if you can get into the fourth quarter in that final drive, the defenses are going to be scared. You don't want to face Aaron Rodgers on the other side of the football there with the game on the line for a chance of him going 75 yards. So that's a real benefit there. But statistically, I think it'll be maybe slightly better than 2025. I'm not expecting a huge increase there. The big question as we get into this season is, can he push the football down the field, and can he deliver the explosive passing plays? If he can't, I think it's going to look a lot like last season did.
Yeah, I think that's a great breakdown, and I was curious on what your view was on that. Dave Bryan from Steelers Depot, as always, a great breakdown on what's going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're right around the corner from live football just in a couple days, so we'll get a recap on that. If anything huge happens, I might have to follow up with you to see where it's breaking at. But Dave, thanks as always for your time today. We appreciate your breakdown.
All right, you and Dell have a great week and weekend there. We'll talk to you next week. Be
Sounds
blessed.
great. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate that. Dave Bryan from Steelers Depot. You can follow him online at Steelers Depot and also at his website, steelersdepot.com. Tons of great information over there. I encourage you to go check it out if you haven't already. So let's take our break now. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit talking TV and entertainment right after this.
Don't forget about our podcast. Check out your favorite podcast provider or simply go to WVMetroNews.com and click on the podcast link. This is Hotline, presented by Salango Law on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Of course, the LVA was brought into my life because I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
Where he was in the course, we really had to go towards an LVAD.
At that point, I was committed. At that point, I wanted to get better, and I wanted to see what this machine was going to do for me.
With this therapy, he's thriving, doing well. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
Stay ahead of West Virginia weather with Metro News Television, now bringing you a new way to stay informed across the Mountain State. Get updates daily at 9, noon, and 4, from headlines and precipitation to severe weather threats and highs and lows. See conditions from panhandle to panhandle and check travel with the Fly CRW forecast. Our meteorologists are on your screens and on Talkline, Midday, Hotline, and Sportsline, keeping you up to date. Metro News Television weather, accurate, local, and always on.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Our commitment doesn't stop when you drive off the lot. With factory-trained technicians and a service team you can trust, we're here to keep your vehicle running at its best for years to come. So when it's time to get your next vehicle, choose the dealership that's been serving the community for generations. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world!
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
Look at this. I heard about a woman in India who set a world record for her nearly 9-foot-long hair. She broke the previous record of everyone who's ever showered before you at a Motel 6.
Yeah, there's some truth about that. It is 4:27. Coming up on the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour, I'll be joined in just a few minutes by Steve Whittington from Select Cards and Collectibles. We'll talk about building an elite collection of whatever it is you're collecting. If you have questions for Steve, you're welcome to send those in, 304-825-5304. Get that number out to you again in just a second. But for now, let's get an entertainment update from ABC News.
ABC Entertainment News.
The Jonas Brothers are about to be burning up your TV screens on Friday. The trio's podcast, Hey Jonas, will begin streaming on Hulu and Disney+. The release coincides with the premiere of Camp Rock 3, which airs on Disney Channel this Thursday. Disney is the parent company of Hulu and ABC News.
Hey, it's your brother. We had a problem, Linus.
We have our first teaser trailer for Paper Tiger. The new thriller follows two brothers, played by Adam Driver and Miles Teller, who find themselves involved with the Russian mafia. Paper Tiger comes to select theaters on November 13th.
And you rainbow-infused space.
The new comedy Dig is coming to Peacock this fall. The series stars Amy Poehler and Hugh Laurie as archaeologists who discover an artifact that changes their lives forever. Dig will premiere on November 23rd. And happy birthday to Chris Hemsworth, who is 43 today. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Man, I got to be honest with you. A comedy with Amy Poehler and with was it House MD that was going to be in there? That sounds pretty good to me. I think that might be pretty funny. I would watch that. I think Hugh Laurie's in there and Amy Poehler. I would watch that. I love Wooster and Jeeves. I don't know if you've ever seen that show, the old BBC show that had Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie in it, based off of the old novels from, I think, the 40s or the 50s. Anyway, that's really, really good stuff. Coming up, Steve Whittington's going to join me again. If you have any questions about your collectibles, you can get a hold of Steve, 304-825-5304, 304-TALK-304. On this day's coming up at 4:45 and at the top of the 5 o'clock hour, we will start hour number 3. We'll take a break and be back right after this. You're listening to Hotline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
Hello, I'm meteorologist Brandon Weathers. We will continue to see multiple rounds of thunderstorms presenting some severe conditions, the main concern being damaging winds. We may also see some 1-inch hail or tornado spin out, but our greatest threat is flooding. We've already had some communities measuring a couple inches of rainfall, multiple rounds through Thursday night. By Friday morning, drier air starting to work into the region. The severe risk through Tuesday, widespread slight risk enhanced toward Huntington. Then this is also our time frame with the greatest potential for flooding, a moderate risk for western West Virginia. By Wednesday, a marginal risk for some damaging winds still. Parkersburg on the northern edge of that, Lewisburg, Charleston, these areas, and the slight risk for excessive rainfall. By Thursday, the slight risk is back going north and east. Fortunately, by Thursday, our severe threat starts to diminish. But for today, we had the late morning, early afternoon round, then our late afternoon to evening round of storms moving from northwest to southeast. By midnight, severe threat is improving, but we could still see the rain piling up, leading to elevated rivers, creeks, and streams, especially over southwestern portions of West Virginia. FlyCRW forecast, it starts at home. Summer heat is building across a large swath of the southern and south central, southeastern U.S. Meanwhile, Chicago, if you're traveling that way, you can expect some more comfortable conditions the later part of the week. Panhandle to Panhandle forecast, bottoming out in mid to upper 60s overnight, then low to mid 80s on Wednesday looking north. Further east, Martinsburg, 68 for a low, then 87 on Wednesday. We'll see Elkins at 66 overnight, then 73 for a high in Snowshoe, going west for some mid-80s. Marlinton, 65 overnight. Then Charleston, 86 on our Wednesday. Gradually trending warmer on Sunday with the drier air. More wet weather early next week.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
If it matters in West Virginia, it's being talked about here.
I always said I was going to move to a mountain in Tucker County, but probably going to put a data center on it, so I got to find a new plan.
Oh, you did not.
Oh, I did. Told you it's a little grumpy today.
Oh,
Three or
man,
four-
you got some zingers today, Dave. I love it.
Join Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows Monday through Friday for Talk Line. Available on mobile, Roku, Fire TV, smart TVs, and online at WVMetroNewsTV.com.
When you hired me, you were 29. You seemed like you were 50 when you were 29. You were running that thing like a 50-year-old man. All right, we got to go get some tape. Come on, get out of there.
I think I've sort of always been 50, and I think I'm 50 now.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
A great point.
Join Tony Caridi, Brad Howe, and Hoppy Kercheval for Three Guys Before the Game. Metro News Television. Available on mobile, Roku, Fire TV, smart TVs, and online at WVMetroNewsTV.com.
"27 minutes until 5 o'clock. I'm Dale Cooper. You're listening to Metro News Hotline. Thanks for tuning in. On this Tuesday afternoon, here in the Kanawha Valley anyway, we have a little bit of a pause in weather coming through the area. And it's interesting to look outside right now, and it's either the calm before or after the storm, or maybe both. I'm not sure which. So be aware of your weather forecast and keep it keep your head on a swivel, because there's some high water out there and there's more rain coming. So you just want to be aware of that. Steve Whittington from Select Cards and Collectibles joining us here in just a second. We're going to talk about building an elite collection on whatever it is that you're collecting. Going to get some tips and pointers and professional advice from Steve Whittington from Select Cards and Collectibles, which will work out just fine. But before we go to him, let's go ahead and roll out today's question of the day. Question of the day today has to do with collectibles, as it turns out, and I want to know a couple things about your collectibles. Recently, a storage box in Wisconsin turned up nearly 100 copies of a previously unknown Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt cartridge. The seller claimed Nintendo sent them to be melted down for gold, but they survived, and they are still intact to today. Experts say that the sticker, the screws, the manual, and the motherboard are all different from known printings, making it one of the most documented games in preservation history with 0 prior sightings. Some copies are pristine enough to earn the first ever PSA 10 grade for an NES cartridge. 3 of them head to auction this month with estimates in the millions. The Salango Law Question of the day today is, what's a lost collectible from your past you wish you still had, either for value or sentimentality? Either for value or sentimentality. We do have some responses online for this. Let's get to those. Let's see. Hey, Coop, I wish I still had the signed baseball card by Babe Ruth that my grandmother accidentally threw away when she was cleaning out her basement. Ugh. Yeah, Ugh is right, man. Babe Ruth card? That's pretty good. Let's see. This is the guy that sent me the information on the Roberto Clemente bat. His response to me wondering if this was actually a signed bat or a printed bat. Eons ago, my dad's employer chartered a bus to the Pirates game for all their employees and kids. It was bat day, and they gave every kid a miniature wooden bat. I actually got Roberto Clemente's signature on his, and then, of course, as a kid, when I get home, I use it to bat gravel thrown up in the air. And that bat is not in very good shape anymore. So that's yeah, that'll happen.
That's Heartbreak City right there.
That's pretty bad. From the 304-541, my He-Man collection. I don't know. I don't know what He-Man does these days, but my He-Man collection.
You know, I feel like a lot of that 80s and 90s nostalgia stuff, though, is really popular, especially on like eBay and auction sites.
Yeah, I know. That's interesting. I don't know how that goes. But let's get some information from the professional. Let's get Steve Whittington in here, and I actually have a question for Steve as well from a caller that left us one. But Steve, thanks for joining us today on the Big Show.
Hey, no problem, guys. How you guys doing?
Can't complain at all, man. Things are going pretty good, even without the Grand Poobah here, who's vacationing down in Florida. But we won't begrudge him that.
Yeah, he's probably looking at the record store anyway.
I guarantee you that he probably is. He texted me just a little bit ago on something unrelated. I should have asked him what vinyl store he was in, because that's probably exactly what he was doing. Before we get to a couple of the questions, Steve, I have to ask you, as a professional collector, is there anything that you remember from like your childhood that you wish you still had?
I collect a lot of Star Wars stuff and toys and memorabilia, and I had some good stuff in the early 80s, but it didn't survive the wars we had with it in my backyard with my brother. So we had a lot of lighter fluid and rocks and slingshots, and yeah, we treated it pretty rough. But I wish I had all that stuff back.
No, I am so right with you there, because my Star Wars stuff was all played with. I mean, I had a lot of it, but it was played with hard. And so, I mean, you had faces half melted off. You had, I would just get lighters and melt them just to make them look damaged. This stormtrooper needs to have a blaster mark on him or whatever, and you would do that. I remember years and years ago when my grandmother's house had been in and out of the family, and they bought it and got it back into the family, and it had never been properly cleaned out in the basement. So I went in and cleaned out the basement of that house, and it actually had a bunch of my old stuff still in it through other owners and everything else, where it just never got properly cleaned out. But it was all like water damaged and destroyed. One of the things I found in there was the Millennium Falcon that was just completely ripped out. All the cardboard, and it was just like the shell of the Millennium Falcon. But the Falcon itself was still together, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, well, there's one thing that sort of survived.
Yeah, sort of.
Sort of survived. So I had a question for you, Steve. We had somebody that, with my question of the day, they were relating something that they wish they still had, and it got me curious as to if there's anything that they can do about this. This is from the caller, who said that they have a deflated basketball from 1958 signed by Jerry West and the WVU basketball team, who won the championship at the Kentucky Invitational. It also had Adolph Ruff's signature on it. The problem is that the bladder inside has rotted over the years, and so it's flat now, and he wishes that he took better care of it. And my question on something like that is, as whatever value that it has, does the fact that the bladder inside the ball deteriorated affect it that much? Is there any way to repair that for a collector, that a collector would be happy with it?
Yeah, you can absolutely repair that stuff. I mean, it does affect the value, because, I mean, we know what old leather looks like when it starts getting really weathered, and when it loses the bladder inside of it, it starts creasing real bad. But with collectibles nowadays, the market is, it's such a hot market, and there's so much money involved that a lot of people have crossed over into curators and art curators. And I've had stuff myself. I had a poster that got damaged in shipping that was signed by Michael Jordan, and it was pretty valuable. And I got the insurance claim on it, but they allowed me to buy it back. So I sent it to somebody in Chicago who restores paintings, and it wasn't very expensive for them to restore it. And to me, that's not a bad option. I know somebody who's also restored a leather football helmet from the 1930s, and it was in really deplorable condition, and they got it restored and, retained a ton of value on it by doing that. Plus, it just looked a lot better.
Yeah, I imagine that if you're somebody that enjoys what you're collecting as well, that's a great sort of a blending of the two things. It's like, okay, maybe it's not an absolute original condition, but if I can get it restored a little bit so it looks good in display or something like that and still retain some of the value, that seems like a pretty good needle to thread.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to think too, a lot of the stuff's organic, like you're talking about, so, leather gloves, bats, basketballs, it's all organic material. So it does have, a half-life. It's going to start to rot away. So preserving it, if you didn't preserve it right, when you were on the head of the lifespan of it, when it starts getting on the back end of the lifespan of it, you need to take precautions to it. Now, you saw people that shellacked old baseballs back in the 30s and 40s. That wasn't the proper way to go about that. But, cool, dark areas for autographs, what color the background is, what kind of Sharpies you use, all that stuff matters in collectibles. And it's very important that if you don't go the right route and you have a red ink signature on something white, things like that, it's going to fade in 10 or 20 years if you do not take precautions. So just do some research or text me, and I'll tell you how to restore that stuff or to get it restored for you.
That's sort of what I wanted to talk about a little bit today is some of those tips, just like what you were talking about. Jeff Jenkins was in here at the beginning of the show, and I rolled the question the day out to him, and he was talking about a baseball that he had from the 1976 Cincinnati Reds where the entire team signed the baseball. But the problem was I think he said in sixth grade or whatever it was, and didn't really know what he was doing. So he still owns the baseball today. The baseball itself is in pretty good shape, but the ink has completely faded off of the thing. Yeah. And I mean, you don't get two shots at that. I mean, if you don't use the right materials to start with, that could eventually happen to you. So what are some of the things if you're looking to get a ball signed? Is it completely Sharpies? Does it matter if it's a fatter one or a thinner one? Like, what are the things you should look into?
You definitely want a Sharpie or something that's made for autographs. You want to try and stay away from white backgrounds if you can. unless it's, paper product. If it's white panel footballs and things like that, they never really last a long term. Sharpie goes better on a dark background, even though it might not be as eye-catching and popping, but the sunlight, the UV will attack that white. It'll raise that ink up out of there. And sometimes things are a wash, just like Jeff Jenkins' ball. Me and Stout bought a Babe Ruth autographed baseball, and it was so bad condition. It was certified. It was legit. But it was in so bad a condition we couldn't salvage it, and it was better just to sell it in the condition it was and move on from it as to try and spend money to restore it, because once it gets to a certain point, you can't get the autographs back, and there's no way to restore an autograph. But storing them properly, you want to store them out of direct UV light. I mean, don't put anything by a window, even a picture you have in your house. If a natural sunlight is coming in and hitting it, it's going to eat it alive. But your lights in your house are okay, but you still want to be precautious to what kind of bulbs you're putting in there. And, if it's something you only want to bring out and you want to hold its historical value or just its monetary value, store it in a dark place, shelves, closets, things like that, where no light hits it at all, and just bring it out when you want to show it to somebody. That's the best way to make it last as long as it can.
If somebody really has the money to start investing into trying to create an elite collection, they're trying to put together a set of baseball cards that's highly sought after, or they're really going after some memorabilia that are, we're talking into maybe the six figures or even further, something like that. Somebody really has money to spend on things like that, but maybe this hasn't been something they've done their whole life. Like they've found a passion for it later on. What's some of the like how do you keep from getting scammed? Or do you go with brokers who are legit, that have reputations? Don't go to answer Craigslist deals or something? I mean, do you just want to stay with what's known?
It's a little bit of both. So obviously, research with anything else. There's tons of resources now on the internet to get information you need for your collection. And, we've always told people, have a game plan of what you want. If you want to collect, Hall of Fame football or basketball people from UK or something, have some sort of an idea so you're not jumping around all over the place, because it's just like shopping. You see something shiny, you buy it, and then 6 months later, you're like, why did I buy that? I don't know why. So go into it with a plan, and then, try and stay with the companies. When you research, you're going to realize that the grading companies for the cards like PSA and Beckett and even SGC, that's the stuff you want to buy. You don't ever want to buy it graded in a holder that's, one of the off 3 or 4 brands, because then there's a good chance it's been trimmed or altered or, wasn't even graded to begin with. Be very cautious buying raw cards. It's okay to buy raw cards in a mall show for $30-$40. But, I would not pay $3,000-$4,000 for a raw card unless I absolutely knew what I was buying or had somebody there that could show me, that I'm not getting ripped off and the card hadn't been altered. With memorabilia, same thing. You want to stay with the big companies, Mounted Memories, UDA, Fanatics, companies who have a history of it. There's a lot of auctions I go look at where they're selling like a Kobe. And the old homage that the price is too good to be true. If you see a Kobe Bryant autograph for $199, it's fake. Just be realistic with yourself. It's that kind of stuff happens to people all the time. And I see the sales, we see them all the time buying this stuff, and they come to the shop and be like, hey, I just bought this Kobe for $200. And I'm like, yeah, but it's look at it. It's not even what his signature really looks like, or it was signed in 2023. So come on now. And you got to be careful with that kind of stuff.
Last thing I'll get you out of here on, because I think that the pieces of information that you share are so worthwhile, and little nuggets that people can hide away. Mistakes that people make. Is there something super common or something that if one thing you'd like to tell every collector, maybe, that do not do this or avoid trying to do this because you'll get yourself in trouble? Is there any one thing that you see people do, or a category of things that you see people do that you just need to caution them on?
Absolutely. So the number one thing we tell everybody is don't buy into the hype. It's okay to collect people or buy memorabilia or anything else for people you like and want. But when you buy things at their pinnacle because they're on the news, everybody else is buying them, it drops the price up. If you're buying Tom Brady's rookie card the night he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame off eBay, you're going to be paying 60% more than what you would have paid for it 3 months later or 3 months before that. People do that all the time. They see something on ESPN where Caitlin Clark just dropped 30 or 40 points. They go straight to the internet. There's tons of bids, tons of auctions, and everybody else is doing the same thing you do. So our theory is if you're going to hold long-term, buy things out of sport. Right now you need to be buying football stuff, or maybe it's a little late for football, but basketball. Buy your baseball stuff, after the World Series when the prices drop a little bit. If Ohtani or Judge goes out and has a 4-home run game, don't go on the internet and buy his rookie card that night. You're going to pay 3x for it, and you're going to pay for it 2 months from now. You're going to see the price drop considerably.
Man, that's great tips and stuff that people need to be aware of if they're getting into this, at whatever level of the game they're in, but always great tips for folks to live by. And Steve, thanks a bunch for your time. As always, great expert advice for building up elite card collections and advice on how to take care of your stuff. We'll check in with you next time. We really appreciate your time.
All right, appreciate it, guys. You guys have any questions, man, just reach out to me.
We sure will, Steve. Thanks a bunch. We appreciate that. Steve Whittington from Select Cards and Collectibles over in South Charleston, here in the Kanawha Valley. We share some of their information online. You can go check that out if you need to get a hold of Select Cards and Collectibles. Always willing to help you out with anything that you have in the collectible category. Let's do this. Let's take a break, and we'll come back and do a little On This Date.
Hi, I'm Dylan Jumper, a project consultant at Civil and Environmental Consultants. I'm someone who craves challenges and meaningful connections. At CEC, I found both solving complex problems and delivering quality solutions is what drives me. It's not just about completing tasks, it's about building trust and making a lasting impact. In the Martinsburg office, we anticipate, communicate, and act swiftly to keep projects on track. At CEC, we engineer progress in the great state of West Virginia.
Find out what CEC can do for you. Visit cecinc.com.
Metro News Hotline, presented by Salango Law, will return right after these messages.
1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
I'm Sean Kovich, Mountaineer Golf Coach. When disaster strikes your home, business, or golf game, call the restoration company the Mountaineers call. Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
Of course, the LVA was brought into my life because I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
Where he was in the course, we really had to go towards an LVAD.
At that point, I was committed. At that point, I wanted to get better. And I wanted to see what this machine was going to do for me.
With this therapy, he's thriving, doing well. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Our commitment doesn't stop when you drive off the lot. With factory-trained technicians and a service team you can trust, we're here to keep your vehicle running at its best for years to come. So when it's time to get your next vehicle, choose the dealership that's been serving the community for generations. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Football season begins right here on Metro News Television. Join us Thursday, August 27th for the 2026 WVSSAC kickoff game. Presented by the Army National Guard. The Cameron Dragons battle the Clay Battelle Seabees live from Blacksville. Don't miss the first kickoff of the new season, the 2026 WVSSAC kickoff game, Thursday, August 27th at 7 p.m. Pre-game coverage starts at 6:30 p.m. Powered by GoMart, only on Metro News Television.
It is 8 minutes to the top of the hour. It's time to do On This Date. We run down the list of things, birthdays, and events that have happened on this date. On this date in 1983, Chris Hemsworth, the Australian actor from Thor and the Avengers, was born in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. He's 43 today. Here's a clip of him from a few years ago crashing the weather forecast on a live hit during Today Australia.
Well, welcome back to Weekend Today. Let's check your weekend weather now with Lauren Phillips. Hi, Loz.
Hi, Beck. I am in Scone this morning. I've been telling you all morning, I'm in the horse capital of Australia, but I was yet to find a horse, so I thought I should hot-foot it up to one of the horse studs and check out the beautiful.
Heard you talking about looking for some horses. There's a bunch down here, actually, which I've noticed in the paddock. What are you doing?
Well, we're doing the weather for the Today Show, and I often get teased about not having the best presenting skills or pronunciation. You want to help me out?
Yeah, let's mispronounce all of these. All right. Cairns, possible shower, 28. Townsville, sunny, good, 28 as well. Sunshine Coast, shower or two, 22. So maybe get a raincoat ready there.
No good for Melbourne again.
No, Melbourne, rain increasing, 16.
Having a shocker in Melbourne. What about a shout out to our friends in Melbourne who are locked down?
Hello, all my friends in Melbourne. I'm from Melbourne. I'm a Victorian, but that rain, get your brollies out as well, I reckon.
So, you just crashing the weather forecast. Not a terrible thing to do. Seems like a nice guy. He's always seemed like a nice guy and everything that I've ran across with him. In 1949, Eric Carmen, the rocker, was born. You know this, his hit. I'm sure you know his hit. Here it is, All By Myself.
I think of all the friends I've known, but when I dial the telephone, nobody's home.
Every time I hear Eric Carmen, makes me think of Cartman.
Cartman, I know. When I first saw this, I was like, Cartman doesn't have a real birthday. All right, we got to the hook. That's what we needed to hear. Let's see. On this date in 1973, American Graffiti, directed by George Lucas, opens in cinemas across the United States.
Can't stand it, man. I can dig it. It's one of those great old movies about romance, racing, and rock and roll. Oh, American Graffiti. American Graffiti. Where were you in 62?
That trailer really doesn't do the movie much justice. It's a good movie.
Where were you in 62?
Yeah, no doubt. On this date in 1956, Elvis releases Don't Be Cruel. We don't get nearly enough Elvis on this show, so we're going to take the king to the break. You're listening to Hotline on Metro News. We'll be back after this.
Too hard, it's true. Baby, if I made you mad for something I might have said.
Every 65 seconds.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Our commitment doesn't stop when you drive off the lot. With factory-trained technicians and a service team you can trust, we're here to keep your vehicle running at its best for years to come. So when it's time to get your next vehicle, choose the dealership that's been serving the community for generations. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all
1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
Of course, the LVA was brought into my life because I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
Where he was in the course, we really had to go towards an LVAD.
At that point, I was committed. At that point, I wanted to get better, and I wanted to see what this machine was going to do for me.
With this therapy, he's thriving, doing well. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
If it matters in West Virginia, it's being talked about here.
I always said I was going to move to a mountain in Tucker County, but probably going to put a data center on it, so I got to find a new plan.
Join Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows for Talk Line on Metro News Television. Sports Line on Metro News Television.
I was sitting with a guy last night, and he said, all right, I'm going to go put $1,000 on it. Well, down the stretch of that ball game, he's looking at us like, are you kidding me? Sure enough, the Mountaineers came back. I saw him today. He said, yep, I'm putting another grand on them tomorrow.
Well, that's going to do it for us in hour number 2. Man, this show's going by pretty quick, if I do say so. Coming up next hour, Daniel Woods is going to join us at the top of the hour, and we're going to talk about the Mountain East Conference, and he is the play-by-play voice of West Virginia State, and so we'll get a specific look at West Virginia State. We'll be joined by Don Wilson at the bottom of the hour to talk about insuring that elite collection. So how to insure that elite collection that you go out and build.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
Hello, I'm meteorologist Brandon Weathers. We will continue to see multiple rounds of thunderstorms presenting some severe conditions, the main concern being damaging winds. We may also see some 1-inch hail or tornado spin out, but our greatest threat is flooding. We've already had some communities measuring a couple inches of rainfall, multiple rounds through Thursday night. By Friday morning, drier air starting to work into the region. The severe risk through Tuesday, widespread slight risk enhanced toward Huntington. Then this is also our time frame with the greatest potential for flooding, a moderate risk for western West Virginia. By Wednesday, a marginal risk for some damaging winds still. Parkersburg on the northern edge of that, Lewisburg, Charleston, these areas, and the slight risk for excessive rainfall. By Thursday, the slight risk is back going north and east. Fortunately, by Thursday, our severe threat starts to diminish. But for today, we had the late morning, early afternoon round, then our late afternoon to evening round of storms moving from northwest to southeast. By midnight, severe threat is improving, but we could still see the rain piling up, leading to elevated rivers, creeks, and streams, especially over southwestern portions of West Virginia. 5CRW forecast, it starts at home. Summer heat is building across a large swath of the southern and south central, southeastern U.S. Meanwhile, Chicago, if you're traveling that way, you can expect some more comfortable conditions the later part of the week. Panhandle to Panhandle forecast, bottoming out in mid to upper 60s overnight, then low to mid 80s on Wednesday looking north. Further east, Martinsburg 68 for a low, then 87 on Wednesday. We'll see Elkins at 66 overnight, then 73 for a high in Snowshoe, going west for some mid-80s. Marlinton, 65 overnight. Then Charleston, 86 on our Wednesday, gradually trending warmer on Sunday with the drier air. More wet weather early next week.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
This is Metro News Hotline, presented by Salango Law. Metro News Hotline is a 3-hour audio tour navigating the world of sports, news, entertainment, tech, and more from a Mountain State point of view. Hotline is a no politics zone. You can join the conversation. Text the show at 304-825-5304. 304-TALK-304. Once again, filling in for Dave Weekly is Dale Cooper.
It is hour number 3. I don't have a rhyme for that. I need to come every day. I open with that. I'm like, I need, and it's just we.
Whoop-de-dee.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Like, I don't know.
What does he say there?
I don't think we rhyme in hour 3.
He's really missing an opportunity there. I think he needs to. I mean, it's been 13 years.
Yeah,
it's time.
See, hour number 3 over on radio. It's free. I don't
know. I don't know. We'll have to work on that.
I'll leave the poetry up to the Grand Poobah, I guess. I'm not going to work on that. Dave Weekly will be back on Monday. Of course, I'm Dale Cooper. That's Matt Murphy filling in today. I'm going to have a great discussion coming up in just a second. Daniel Woods is going to join us from Metro News. He is the voice of West Virginia State sports and also just knows a lot about the MEC. So we're going to talk about the MEC and West Virginia State just a little bit. It was a great football season last year for the MEC, and with Daniel's help, we'll recap some of that. But there was a great march to the conference championship between Frostburg State and Charleston, and there was some great games, some great players are in the league. We're going to recap all of that, getting ready for the MEC season that's coming up here, and what we're going to expect for that. We'll play some in or out at 5:25, and then at 5:33, Don Wilson's going to join me. He is a independent agent with Capital Insurance here in Charleston. And he has a great presentation talking about protecting your collectibles. And we just did a segment earlier in the show about how to become an elite collector, or some advice on how to become an elite collector if you're going to really put some money into these things. And I'm going to talk to Don a little bit about how to protect that investment. If you're going to put all the work in and you're going to get these high-dollar items and things like that, you want to protect it the right way. And I learned a lot from Don through various conversations we've had and shows that we've done in the past. And so I'm going to have him on this program so he can share some of that information with you, because I think that it's really very important. learning about, you want to go to specialists to take care of your special items. Generalists don't always work. And so from an insurance standpoint, Don will explain some of that to us. So that'll come up at 5:30. If you have any questions for him, you're welcome to weigh in on those as well. So looking forward to this last hour for you. Let's go ahead and reset our question of the day before we get to Daniel Woods. We've had some responses to this. We'll get into those a little bit later on. But since we're talking about collectibles today, I ran across this story where a Wisconsin storage box turned up and had nearly 100 copies of a previously unknown version of Super Mario's Brother and Duck Hunt. It's under a configuration that's never been seen before, which makes it one of the most documented games in preservation history with 0 prior sightings. Some copies are pristine enough to earn the first ever PSA 10 grade for an NES cartridge. Those 3 are headed to auction this month with estimates to be in the millions for NES cartridges. The Salango Law Question of the day today is, what's a lost collectible from your past that you wish you still had? A lost collectible from your past you wish you still had, for either value or sentimentality. Text 304-825-5304. Let's go ahead and talk to Daniel Woods from Metro News about some happenings in the MEC this year. Daniel, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Sorry to make you burn the candle on both ends a little bit, but I appreciate you taking some time out to talk to us a little bit about the upcoming MEC season.
No worries at all. I'm always happy to preach the good word of the Mountain East Conference.
Well, I want to talk a little bit specifically about state here in just a second, but I wanted to just kind of recap what last season was like in the MEC. It was really a very compelling season. There was a war for a lot of the season between Frostburg and Charleston. They had that classic overtime game that Frostburg won that was the de facto conference championship game, really. It was just a great season for the MEC, a lot of great players, most of them returning. It looks very good for the MEC coming into this season.
You're right, and you really start with that Frostburg State team coming off of a conference championship, coming off of an appearance in the Division II playoffs, and I'm starting my preparations for this season. I've been following these teams and what they have returning from a year ago, and that Frostburg State team, man, they're not going to miss a beat. They've got their top 3 rushers back. Owen Doyle and KJ Smothers were the 1-2 punch for them last year. They had a little bit of a situation at quarterback where they thought Miles Fulton was going to be their starter. He got hurt. Jordan Brooks stepped in, started most of the year, and was phenomenal. He's back, and they return a ton on the defensive side of the ball. But you're right, last year was so much fun because that Frostburg team had so much talent. The University of Charleston, like you said, was right there with them down to the end. They overcame an injury to their quarterback, Ian Hamrick, where he was out for a handful of games and stayed in that conference race. And there were a handful of teams that had a pathway to a conference championship right down to the final few weeks, and it was Frostburg that deservingly, I think, won out in the end.
Looking at the season as it's stacking up for you this year, I mean, there's a lot of great returning players. I think that most of the individual returning players in the league are coming back, except for Charleston's defensive player of the year, Aiden Miller, who I think played linebacker. He's not coming back. But West Liberty's offensive player of the year, Hunter Patterson, is going to be back. And then West Virginia State, you know very well, offensive player of the year, Devin Cox at wide receiver. He's going to be back. There's a lot of individual talent in this league that's going to be fun to watch.
There's no question. And a lot of the young guys that emerged last year are making their way back. Like you said, Devin Cox burst onto the scene for West Virginia State. They thought he was going to be a redshirt at the beginning of the year with the way that their running back situation worked out. But Justin Pessoa, who was their returning all-conference guy, went down with an ankle injury early in the season. They were able to get him on a medical red shirt, and Devin Cox stepped up as a true freshman and was incredible. Dylan Newman, who was the defensive freshman of the year, is still in the Mountain East, but he's changing schools. He played at Wheeling last year. He committed back in December to transfer to West Virginia Wesleyan to play under Mike Keller, who's the first-year head coach there. And then you look up and down, you've got another guy moving within the conference to that West Virginia Wesleyan program. Jeremiah King was a first-team All-State, or rather a first-team All-Conference running back last year that goes from Glenville State to Wesleyan. West Virginia State has Malik Baker back as a first-team All-Conference selection, and a lot of guys on defense as well. What I will say is you look at a Division II conference like this, and you consider how many guys from this league are on Division I rosters at this point. Leonard Farrow from Oak Hill ran for almost 1,700 yards at Fairmont State. He's at Florida Atlantic now. Hunter Patterson from West Liberty, an Oak Glen High School product, is in the running back room at Old Dominion. Amari Airy from West Virginia State led the league in receiving. He's at Idaho State. So this is a talented league year in and year out, and I think we're going to see even more names emerge this season.
Yeah, really looking forward to seeing how things play out and looking at the league teams just in general. Is Frostburg to you? I think you were mentioning there at the beginning. Are they still the team that to chase? And what other teams other than Charleston have a shot here? West Virginia Wesleyan, you mentioned a minute ago, they have a new coach and some players that are transferring in. They were winless last season, but in the top third or so of the MEC, there were a lot of teams in there that had a pretty good shot, all the way down to Wheeling that finished up at 6-5, but they were 5-3 in the conference. There seems like a lot of teams that are clustered there in the middle that might have a shot to make a little bit of a run.
There's no question. Like you said, Frostburg won 11 games last year. They returned so much. It's going to be really hard to not put them at number one in a preseason poll. Charleston, I think it's fair to have them following that up because they return a lot on defense and they return a lot in the running game. But beyond that, I think it's a pretty open conversation. Wheeling comes to mind quickly, like you said, that finished 6-5 there last year. That's been a steady build for a program that didn't exist 10 years ago. And they have done a great job building that up. They return a lot on offense, going to need some answers on defense, but everybody's going to have holes to fill in the league. You mentioned West Virginia Wesleyan. That's a program that hasn't won a game in a couple of years at this point, but Mike Keller became available because his contract at Glenville State wasn't renewed. He's a North Central West Virginia guy, a Shinston guy, stays close to home, takes that West Virginia Wesleyan job. They're getting some talent in the door at West Virginia Wesleyan that program hasn't seen in a couple of years. I'm really interested to see where they land. And then Glenville State has a connection to WVU now with the addition of Jake Castile, the son of longtime WVU defensive coordinator Jeff Castile. He was on Rich Rodriguez's staff last year at WVU. They've got a bunch of transfers in. That team's going to be a lot of fun. And then I got to give a shout out to West Virginia State. I mean, they finished 5-6 last year, but were a handful of plays away from 7 or 8 wins probably. You return an all-conference quarterback in Caleb Jackson and 3 running backs that have been all-conference selections at some point in their career. Mentioned Justin Pessoa is back from that ankle injury last year. Devin Cox was the league's freshman of the year. And then JoJo Restall was actually your leading rusher last season and a second-team all-conference pick. So there's a lot of returning talent in this league and a lot of teams that have a chance to make some noise.
Yeah, I was looking at Hunter Patterson's numbers, and man, for a guy that played for a team that for the year anyway, they went 3-8, 3-5 in the conference, playing for West Liberty. But he was the only Division II running back that had over 1,000 yards rushing and 400 yards receiving. He's a multi-tool coming out of the backfield there. If you could build a little bit more offense around him and maybe play a little defense, you're not that far away from making a little bit of a run.
Yeah, the West Liberty program, I think, is headed in an interesting direction because they've hired a new head coach this year, Chad Salisbury, who comes over from California, University of Pennsylvania, terrific Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference program. He's a longtime assistant there, longtime offensive mind in Division II. And if anybody's going to scheme it up for some athletes, that's the kind of guy that's going to do it. And again, that's a program that's got some energy behind it, has some talent coming in the door. And it's a rich recruiting area getting up there into the northern panhandle where you can get into western Pennsylvania and eastern Ohio, as well as programs here in West Virginia, like where Hunter Patterson came from at Oak Glen. So it's going to be an interesting first year, I think, for West Liberty. That's a program that has the resources to make something happen pretty quickly.
Daniel Woods is joining us. He is from Metro News. He's the voice of West Virginia State athletics and also just general knowledge of the MEC. I want to give you a shot to talk about State just a little bit. Like you said, really a pretty good football team last year where they had, I listened to a lot of your games and a lot of situations, just 1 or 2 plays, a turnover here or there, something away, just a little bit away from having a couple more wins last season. What's your kind of overall, not necessarily expectation, but what are you looking forward to in covering West Virginia State football this year?
So I want to see this team run the football, and that was really where the strengths emerged over the second half of last season. there were times last year, and John Pennington, if he's out there listening, I know will appreciate me saying this. John Pennington is a coach that is going to do whatever he feels it takes to win. And if that means, and this is a real thing that happened last year, if that means putting 7 offensive linemen on the field at once, he is going to do that. There were times last year with 6 and 7 offensive linemen on the field for West Virginia State. Like I said, you've got those 3 all-conference running backs. Caleb Jackson is a legitimate dual-threat quarterback, and you've got 3 offensive linemen returning that started last year, plus a pretty solid group, including some transfers to try to fill those other 2 spots. So I think West Virginia State, they're going to come at you pretty heavy with that run game this year, and I'm excited to see it.
Man, I'm looking forward to it as well. Football's right around the corner. I'm getting kind of pumped to see it. Looking forward to your game broadcast this year. Daniel's going to be doing games in Charleston on 107.3 The Beat, and he will have color analysis this year by Hollis Lewis. So that's going to be a great broadcast team that you guys are going to put together.
I have to say, I'm incredibly excited to have Hollis Lewis alongside, not just a very obviously public-facing member of the community, but also a West Virginia State alum, a native of the Kanawha Valley, and somebody who really understands what being a Yellow Jacket's all about, and we're really excited to have him along.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. Can't wait for that. Can't wait for the MEC season and for Daniel Woods to be calling West Virginia State games. That's all on board coming up later on this month. Daniel, can you stick around and play some in or out? You don't have to, but you're more than welcome to if you want to.
Sure.
All right, let's have Daniel on for In or Out. Ryan and Matt are here as well, so we'll take a break and be back right after this with In or Out.
You can call us at 800-765-8255. Text us at 304-825-5304.
Or tweet at WEEKLEY.
This is Hotline, presented by Salango Law on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Of course, the LVA was brought into my life because I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
Where he was in the course, we really had to go towards an LVAD.
At that point, I was committed. At that point, I wanted to get better, and I wanted to see what this machine was going to do for me.
With this therapy, he's thriving, doing well. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
I'm Sean Kovich, Mountaineer Golf Coach. When disaster strikes your home, business, or golf game, call the restoration company the Mountaineers call. Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Our commitment doesn't stop when you drive off the lot. With factory-trained technicians and a service team you can trust, we're here to keep your vehicle running at its best for years to come. So when it's time to get your next vehicle, choose the dealership that's been serving the community for generations. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
Football season begins right here on Metro News Television. Join us Thursday, August 27th for the 2026 WVSSAC kickoff game. Presented by the Army National Guard. The Cameron Dragons battle the Clay Battelle Seabees live from Blacksville. Don't miss the first kickoff of the new season, the 2026 WVSSAC kickoff game. Thursday, August 27th at 7 p.m. Pre-game coverage starts at 6:30 p.m. Powered by GoMart. Only on Metro News Television.
It is 5:23. You are listening to Metro News Hotline. I'm Dale Cooper, and it is time to play In or Out. We play this game every day. We have 3 categories of topics which change daily. We start with food, we go to gut reaction, and we end up with celebrity. And joining me today, we have Ryan Nicholson coming back from Local Traffic. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm good.
Thanks for coming back. And Matt Murphy is here as well, producing today. How you doing, Matt?
Yeehaw.
And I think Daniel Woods has stayed over from his time talking about MEC with me in the previous segment. You all right there, Daniel?
Right here.
All right, we're ready to go then. We're going to play a little in or out, and we start with food. And today we're going to talk about apple butter coffee cake creamer. International Delight is launching a new apple butter coffee cake creamer this fall, combining the flavors of autumnal apple butter and sweet buttery coffee cake. Matt, apple butter coffee cake creamer, in or out?
Listen, all of those things individually are great.
Sure.
I don't quite understand why you have to mix them all together and put them into a bottle. It's just a little bit too much for me.
Why apple butter coffee cake? Why not just apple butter?
I'm sorry, I'm out.
You're out on
I'm
okay.
out. I'm out.
All right. Ryan, what do you think about apple butter coffee cake creamer?
I'm sorry, say that to me again.
Apple butter coffee cake creamer. Yeah.
I'm just having trouble processing that amount of words.
I know that it's really difficult.
Yeah, but you know, I don't drink coffee, so I have no use for creamer.
All right.
So I'll be out.
Well, all right, Daniel. Well, this limited edition creamer arrives in a 32-ounce bottles, priced at $4.79, available only for the fall season, so you better hurry up and get it. Daniel, apple butter coffee cake creamer, in or out?
Well, first of all, apple butter coffee cake creamer just makes me think of the line from the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, Bubble Blowing Double Babies. But what I will have to say is summer is my favorite season, but fall is my favorite set of flavors, so I am in.
Oh, there we go. There we go. You'll be happy to know that International Delight is also returning its pumpkin spice creamer in 3 different sizes.
Even better.
I am, if they would have stopped at apple butter, I might have been in on this. But the other word, I mean, I don't need all that. I'm going to be slightly out just because I'm with Daniel. I kind of like apple butter, and so I'm interested in that. But this is just a lot to take in. Okay, for gut reaction, Maybelle Blair threw out the ceremonial first pitch at the Women's Pro Baseball League debut over the weekend, marking the return of women's professional baseball after 70 years. Blair played in the original All-American Girls Professional Baseball League, which disbanded in 1954 after the war. The Los Angeles Queens this weekend defeated the New York Heights 10-8. Maybelle Blair, Matt, in or out?
This is kind of a cool story, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's why I squeezed it in there.
I'd actually kind of like to see professional
One of
women's
these games?
baseball.
I know, I agree.
Yeah, I think it would be tons of fun. If you've ever been to a women's softball game, I mean, they are scary good.
Oh,
so,
I know, yeah.
Yeah, I'm in on this. Absolutely, I'm in on her.
What do you think, Ryan? Maybelle Blair, original baseball player from the Women's Pro Baseball League.
Well, you know, if women's basketball can get as popular as it has in recent years, then I'm sure baseball can do the same. So I'll be in.
Excellent. Daniel, Maybelle turns 100 years old this coming January. Maybelle Blair, Daniel, in or out?
Well, first of all, I would imagine that she would echo what Tom Hanks had to say, which is, of course, there's no crying in baseball.
No crying in baseball!
Particularly in women's baseball. So I am in.
Absolutely. I thought this was the sweetest story when I saw it. There's videos available online, so you can check it out if you want to see her do this. But Maybelle Blair, yeah, got to be in. Got to be in. Absolutely. All right, our celebrity today is John Hamm. I didn't know this, but John Hamm is going to be a first-time dad at 55. So props to that. 10 years older than I was when I became a dad. So props to that. Of course, John Hamm is made most famous by Mad Men that he was in from 2007 to 2015 as Don Draper. And he's getting ready to come out in American Hostage, a 70-set series with Giovanni Ribisi, who I haven't heard from in a long time. Matt, John Hamm, in or out?
So this is kind of out of my wheelhouse because I don't do a lot of TV, but I will say that his Wikipedia bio says internationally considered to be a sex symbol.
Yes.
So I guess I got to be in because the
Okay.
guy's good looking, right?
There you go. Yeah, right.
What else is there? I don't know.
Ryan, John Hamm, in or out?
Sure, I'll be in. I'm sure he was in a Muppet project at some point.
American Hostage, the movie that's coming out with him in it, sounds pretty good. It's a true crime thriller premiering September 20th. Hamm plays Fred Heckman, an Indianapolis radio reporter in 1977 who gets pulled into a real hostage crisis when Tony Crisisis, furious over a mortgage dispute, takes an executive hostage with a shotgun wired to his neck and demands to be interviewed on air. So that's the plot of the movie. It actually sounds pretty good and it kind of fits in with what we do here. Daniel, John Hamm, in or out?
Yeah, radio reporter held hostage kind of cuts a little close to the bone.
A little on the nose,
for
right?
me right here. But what I will say is 100% in on John Hamm.
Yeah, man, I am in on John Hamm. I'm in on this movie, to be honest with you. I love radio movies, and this may not necessarily be technically a radio movie, but this sounds like something that I would really like to get into. By the way, if you're into radio movies, Pontypool, really great one. Daniel, thanks for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a break and be back after this. You're listening to Hotline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
Hello, I'm meteorologist Brandon Weathers. We will continue to see multiple rounds of thunderstorms presenting some severe conditions, the main concern being damaging winds. We may also see some 1-inch hail or tornado spin out, but our greatest threat is flooding. We've already had some communities measuring a couple inches of rainfall, multiple rounds through Thursday night. By Friday morning, drier air starting to work into the region. The severe risk through Tuesday, widespread slight risk enhanced toward Huntington. Then this is also our time frame with the greatest potential for flooding, a moderate risk for western West Virginia. By Wednesday, a marginal risk for some damaging winds still. Parkersburg on the northern edge of that, Lewisburg, Charleston, these areas, and the slight risk for excessive rainfall. By Thursday, the slight risk is back going north and east. Fortunately, by Thursday, our severe threat starts to diminish. But for today, we had the late morning, early afternoon round, then our late afternoon to evening round of storms moving from northwest to southeast. By midnight, severe threat is improving, but we could still see the rain piling up, leading to elevated rivers, creeks, and streams, especially over southwestern portions of West Virginia. FlyCRW forecast, it starts at home. Summer heat is building across a large swath of the southern and south central, southeastern U.S. Meanwhile, Chicago, if you're traveling that way, you can expect some more comfortable conditions the later part of the week. Panhandle to Panhandle forecast, bottoming out in mid to upper 60s overnight, then low to mid 80s on Wednesday looking north. Further east, Martinsburg, 68 for a low, then 87 on Wednesday. We'll see Elkins at 66 overnight, then 73 for a high in Snowshoe, going west for some mid-80s. Marlinton, 65 overnight. Then Charleston, 86 on our Wednesday. Gradually trending warmer on Sunday with the drier air. More wet weather early next week.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
If it matters in West Virginia, it's being talked about here.
I always said I was going to move to a mountain in Tucker County, but probably going to put a data center on it. So I got to find a new plan.
Oh, you did not.
Oh, I did. Told you I was a little grumpy today.
Oh, man, you got some zingers today, Dave. I love it.
Join Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows Monday through Friday for Talkline. Available on mobile, Roku, Fire TV, smart TVs, and online at WVMetroNewsTV.com.
When you hired me
you were 29. You seemed like you were 50 when you were 29. You were running that thing like a 50-year-old man. All right, we got to go get some tape. Come on, get out of there.
I think I've sort of always been 50, and I think I'm 50 now.
Yeah, me too. That's a great point.
Join Tony Carini, Brad Howe, and Hoppy Kercheval for Three Guys Before the Game. Metro News Television. Available on mobile, Roku, Fire TV, smart TVs, and online at WVMetroNewsTV.com.
Minutes until 5 o'clock or until 6 o'clock. Hey, that means we're about ready to get out of here. Thanks for listening to Metro News Hotline. I'm Dale Cooper, filling in for Dave Weekly until Monday, well, through Friday of this week. And I appreciate you tuning in today. We've had a great conversation today. Looking to try to get Don Wilson online here. Got the bat signal up for Don. He is a local insurance agent here in the Kanawha Valley for Capital Insurance Group. He's the owner of Capital Insurance Group. And Don specializes in a lot of things. He's not a captive agent. He's an independent agent. So he deals in a lot of different types of insurance. And one of the things he and I have talked about before on a show that we do locally is insuring your collections. Like if you're into collecting items, whether it be cards, vinyl, memorabilia of some kind, there's specific ways that you should look into protecting those things with insurance. So we're going to talk to Don about those coming up here in just a minute. Our question of the day today had to do with collectibles. And what I wanted to know was, what's collectibles and what was a collectible lost in your life that you wish you still had, either for monetary or sentimental values? You can still get in your responses at 304-825-5304. 304-TALK, 304. Last response that we got on that, that was from the 304-282. I have Topps 1975 Star Wars cards, but they're only worth about $50. They're from 1977. And I have to say, that's something that sentimentally, I remember those cards. Those Star Wars cards. I do remember those, and I'm pretty sure that I had ones. But sentimentally, the value doesn't matter so much if that's something that you've held on to at this point for 40 years. I mean, that's pretty amazing. So you can still get your responses into that 304-825-5304. That's 304-TALK 304 if you still want to get your responses into our question of the day today, which is just simply what's a collectible that you had in the past that you wish that you still had, either for sentimental value or for monetary reasons. Let's go ahead and bring Don Wilson on the line now. He is the owner of Capital Insurance Group, which is located here in Charleston. He and I do shows once a month or so on 580 WCHS, our flagship in Charleston. And Don is an insurance expert, an independent agent with Capital Insurance Group. Don, how you doing today? Or maybe? Are you still with me?
Well,
I think we may have lost Don. We'll try to get Don back here in just a second. I was going to share my story about my collectible. I'll get into a little bit more detail on that for just a second, and we'll see if we can reconnect with Don here. The thing that I talked about, I've told this story on air once before, and I briefly related it to Jeff Jenkins in the first hour. But the main collectible that I think of in my life that, other than as I talked to Steve Whittington about all the Star Wars toys that I left somewhere over time, most of them were just played with to the point where they weren't really worth anything anymore. But I did have a baseball back when I worked for the Charleston Wheelers back in the late 80s and early 90s that over the course of a couple of years, I had it signed by mostly number one draft picks that came through town, either for the Wheelers or for other teams, but also just a couple of my favorite players or guys that I thought would be pretty good. That I remember.
Can you hear us now?
That I remember was on the on it was let's see, we had Ivan Rodriguez, the great catcher for the Texas Rangers and the Hall of Famer. We had his signature on it. We also had Chipper Jones, the Hall of Fame third baseman for the Atlanta Braves. His signature was on it. So was Pokey Reese, shortstop for the Reds and the Pirates. I believe that Andy Pettit, pitcher for the Yankees, I believe his was on there. And there was one more. I can't remember who it was off the top of my head. But we had a bunch of those. And Don just texted me and said to go ahead and call him. Unless you already have him, Matt, I'm not sure. But I'm getting text from him now that says that he needs us to call him. So I'm not real sure what we need to do there. Anyway, so this was one of those situations, just like the Sandlot, more or less, where we had this baseball. It was in my car, and I just kept it in my car in a cup. And I told people about, hey, there's my baseball, et cetera, et cetera. And me and a bunch of my friends used to play just intramural baseball. We didn't play organized or anything, just me and 6 or 8, just like Sandlot, 6 or 8 or 10 of my friends would play breakout baseball every once in a while at whatever field we can find. Often the King Center here in Charleston, sometimes the softball field, the UC softball field over in Canal City next to where Wappel Park was. And we were playing there one day when our, 3 or 4 baseballs that we had that we always played with, we lost them all through home runs, getting lost in the weeds over the fence or something along those lines. So, of course, me thinking, none of these bums are going to actually end up being very good players, I went and got my baseball out of the car, which had these names on it. We used that, and again, hit a home run. Something happened with it, not me. Somebody else did. Lost the ball, could never find it again, and, man, that had a lot of Hall of Famers on it is the only thing that I can think about when I think about that ball these days. But now I think we have Don Wilson on the line. Let's give Don another shout here and see if we can make a connection. Don, are you with me?
Yeah, I can hear you guys just fine.
All right, there we go. Don Wilson is joining me now, owner of Capital Insurance Group. He and I do a show in Charleston where we talk about insurance about once a month, and he's joining us now statewide on Metro News Hotline. Don, thanks for taking some time out. I know that you're busy and on the roads. Thanks for taking some time out to talk to us today.
Yeah, I'm on the road, headed to Baltimore, man. I heard you guys are talking about some collectibles.
Yeah, man. I thought that earlier in the show today we had on from Select Cards and Collectibles there in South Charleston, we had on Steve Whittington, who was he's a regular guest of ours, and usually Dave quizzes him on specific cards and trends and things like that. I talked to him more about building a collection. Like if you're building an elite collection and you're out there spending maybe 6 figures on buying into collections, and you're either into memorabilia, you're into cards, you're into things from concerts, whatever it might be. The thing that you taught me and the thing that I've learned in doing the show with you is, man, that's probably not something that you want your regular old Acme insurance to be covering, because those things have a particular type of value.
Right. Yeah, they're specialized carriers, that specialize in collectibles, whether it be jewelry, whether it be cards, whether it be shoes, anything that you're collecting. I know bourbon's gotten really popular, but you guys are more or less talking about sports cards and sports memorabilia. That stuff, one, you want to make sure that you keep great inventory, right? That's the first step. And it's not your run-of-the-mill. It's not your Progressive. It's not your Geico carrier. We use American Collectors for this sort of thing, and they'll insure almost any collection, from coins to cards to bourbon, you name it, right? But the key thing is keeping a really a solid inventory year by year, month by month, as much as you want to keep your insurance agent up to date, right? Making sure that you have those values, those appraisals, right? Because things appreciate pretty fast. I saw him talking about that Cooper flag card, and I don't know if you guys have touched on that and the thing that the Dallas Mavericks have offered, that guy that has that Cooper flag rookie card. Right. And I also saw LeBron James talking that he said he has 3 of his rookie cards in a vault somewhere in case times ever get hard. If you have those sorts of valuable things, right, and it's not sentimental value when it comes to insurance, right? It's that actual appraised value that we need to see that you guys have on record so that we can make sure that we can insure it properly for replacement costs.
Now, do you, as far as getting appraised values and getting the actual values of these things to go, are there just established professionals out there that people can find? Do you have recommendations that you go through? How do you do that?
Yeah, it's established professionals, the guys that are selling these sorts of things.
Gotcha.
The guys that are selling these things will have some sort of appraiser or someone they can refer you to, either in-house or, within a reasonable drive, right? You want to make sure that you go to a professional because your nephew or your uncle, telling you that it's worth $50,000 or $10,000 isn't going to suffice to the insurance carrier. You want to go to an independent third party that doesn't have any vested interest in you, benefiting from the value of that card.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You want to make sure that you have all of your information from a third party. Obviously, is going to be best, and you go in and get that done. Yep. Now, does things change any if you move from being just somebody who's a straight collector to someone who maybe collects and then resells the things that you get? You don't have a brick and mortar establishment necessarily, but you do actually run some kind of a business where you make money from it.
Yeah, it does. It matters, right? Because we want to make sure that the appraisers are credited. 2, the collector needs to be somewhat sophisticated in one, the valuation of it, and then what they're collecting, right? We want to make sure that you're not just collecting something that could be a fake or a duplicate type thing. We want to make sure it's certified when the appraiser looks at it. But then the amount of cards that you have, right? Dollar amount and the capacity. As far as if you got 5,000 cards, some of those things may be depreciated. some of those things may not be as valuable as they used to be. So that's why we want to make sure that, one, that the appraisers are credited, and then we want to make sure that you got pictures and things of that nature, right? I have a shoe collection, right? I have pictures of the shoes. They're in the original box, things of that nature, right? We want to make sure that you kept these things in mint condition and that this isn't just some, run-of-the-mill, just basic card collection before we're going to insure it.
And I just want to circle back for a minute. You talk about using specialized carriers for things along these lines. And one of the paths that makes it a lot easier is when you have all these appraisal deck sheets and different things like that you're running in front of people. If you got somebody from like a generalist, man, they're not going to necessarily understand the value of those things or be able to evaluate those properly. Whereas if you have somebody that is a specialist that deals with these types of things all the time, you put those deck sheets and things in front of them, you're speaking the same language. That's really going to help out.
Exactly. It's there's not going to be many in this area, right? I know there's a few card collection places in the area. You want to go to one of those guys, the guys that have been doing this thing for 10, 15, 20 years. They know their stuff, right? And then having the pictures, having the inventory list, having the the brand of the card. Is it signed? Is the signature legit? Because sometimes I've seen that where the signature is not legit. The person thinks it is. He goes to an accredited appraiser, and they appraise the card for $3, $4. He thinks he's got a $7,500 card, but the signature the great granddad told him about wasn't actually legit. And so we've seen it all in our world, and then we've seen the fraud, so it's important that you have an accredited appraiser. You got the pictures, the inventory, the valuations, and then you need to make sure that thing hadn't shot up, $2,500 in the last, 4 to 6 months. A player doing something like Cooper Flag just got in the league, and his card is, has shot up, significantly. So make sure that you have an accredited, one appraiser, two, that inventory thing is huge in our world. And then we want to make sure that we update that thing every 6 months to, 6 to 18 months.
Man, all of this is great advice, and it's stuff that you can build in if you're somebody out there looking to get into collecting. And for whatever reason, collecting is one of those things in this environment, the economy that we're in. It seems like collecting is one of those things that are kind of taking off, whether it be sports memorabilia or other types of memorabilia, like you were talking about with tennis shoes or something like that. People are doing that. People are collecting these things. We were just talking about this Nintendo thing where they found all these cartridges that were pristine cartridges that they're going to grade out at the maximum level and sell for $1 million a piece.
Wow. It's amazing what people collect. I tell people every person over 40 to 50 years old eventually starts to collect something. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about hoarders. We're talking about significant collections. I've seen we've insured coin collections. We insure a number of bourbon collections, which has become huge. You're talking about $4,000 or $5,000 bottles of bourbon. Out there on and a lot of it's secondary market, right? That's the other part that people don't realize. It's not the retail price, right? You may see a pair of shoes retail for $160, but they resell for $1,600, right?
Wow, yeah.
We want to make sure that you get those things. And so the cool part about the shoes is Dan Gilbert, the guy that owns the Cavs, he created a stock market for shoes called StockX, right? So there's an accredited valuator right there on the scene. And there may be something like that out there for playing cards or trading cards and stuff like that as well, where there's a national database that where you can trade, collect, sell, whatever, list, and it you can bypass the appraiser that way.
Man, learning something every time we talk to you, Don. That's really good information. And I had no idea. Cool. I knew that bourbon was super popular. I had no idea that you're insuring these giant collections, or maybe not giant, but these expensive collections of bourbon. Yeah. That's incredible.
I know we've got 6-figure bourbon collections on our books. Yeah.
Man, we got to talk bourbon. That's good stuff. Don Wilson from Capital Insurance Group. You can find out more information about him online at CIGWV.com. I do a show with him every month over on our flagship station, 580 WCHS, where we talk about insurance and some of the things that Don specializes in. So I encourage you to go check him out because he knows it all about this type of thing. Don, I appreciate you taking some time out in your travel. I know you're busy today, but I just thought it would be nice to bookend that to talk about how people can protect the things that they're collecting.
I appreciate you guys having me. A great discussion. Thanks, guys.
All right, Don, we'll talk to you later on. That's Don Wilson, who is the owner of Capital Insurance Group. By the way, Tuesday, he will be on here with me locally with our local show. So if you're interested in more insurance-y talk, Don will be with me on the 18th on 580 WCHS. That comes on at 8:20 in the mornings on Ask the Expert, and you can check him out there. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Matt and I will close down the show and get ready to hit the byways. You don't have to work late tonight either, do you? Not too late, I don't think. Yeah, man, get out of here. It's going to be good stuff. So we'll take a break and be back right after this. You're listening to Hotline on Metro News.
This is Hotline, presented by Salango Law on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
I'm Sean Kovich, Mountaineer Golf Coach. When disaster strikes your home, business, or golf game, call the restoration company the Mountaineers call. Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Our commitment doesn't stop when you drive off the lot. With factory-trained technicians and a service team you can trust, we're here to keep your vehicle running at its best for years to come. So when it's time to get your next vehicle, choose the dealership that's been serving the community for generations. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world!
Of course, the LVA was brought into my life because I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
Where he was in the course, we really had to go towards an LVAD.
At that point, I was committed. At that point, I wanted to get better, and I wanted to see what this machine was going to do for me.
With this therapy, he's thriving, doing well. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
If it matters in West Virginia, it's being talked about here.
I always said I was going to move to a mountain in Tucker County, but probably going to put a data center on it, so I got to find a new plan.
Join Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows for Talk Line on Metro News Television. Sports Line on Metro News Television.
I was sitting with a guy last night, and he said, all right, I'm going to go put $1,000 on it. Well, down the stretch of that ball game, he's looking at us like, are you kidding me? Sure enough, the Mountaineers came back. I saw him today. He said, yep, I'm putting another $1,000 on them tomorrow.
You are listening to Metro News Hotline. I'm Dale Cooper. Thanks for tuning in to the show today. So I've gotten a bunch of text messages just in the last few minutes on the program, and not about our question of the day, but apparently there is a school in the Little League World Series who is using the Flying WV.
Oh, really?
Let's see, just an update. I don't know if you're keeping an eye on the Little League World Series tournaments, but there's a team from Washington West Valley, WVV, that looks like they're using our Flying WV. That's from the 681-900. And then from the 602-390, they sent me a picture a little bit later on. And sure enough, there is Flying WV. Now, this looks to be like a teal collar with a white outline. Is the way that this one looks, but it is definitely the West Virginia Flying WV. it looks like I was trying to do a little research into this during the break, and from what I can tell, and this kind of gels with what I thought I sort of knew, that I think technically schools could pressure other schools that use these things to not do it. I think that you could try to make a trademark claim because the structure of it is usually right. But I think that the sort of middle ground and the unofficial way to do it is, as long as you're not using the coloring and the kerneling and everything to be exactly the same, that most of the time the holder of the trademark will let it go for things like Little League and stuff like that. As long as it's not something that's directly competitors and things along those lines, it's like a gray area middle ground. I think if West Virginia wanted to, they could probably go after this Little League school and be like, hey, don't use the Flying WV. But who's going to do that, to a Little League school? Now, if it was like another school or something professional or a brand logo of some kind, I think that would be a different story.
There's actually an example of that here in the Kanawha Valley, the Thundering Herd, the Herd for Marshall, which is obviously green. Elkview Middle School, they are also the Herd, and so they have that. There's a specific font that Marshall uses that when they have that term, the Herd, and Elkview uses the same thing, but their colors are blue and white. So, but same kind of deal there.
Yeah, I think who is it? Colorado State in college football has always had the curled horns, like the Rams, whichever city that the Rams happen to play for in the NFL. And I've always assumed that that's sort of the same thing because the collars are so different that there's never been much of a change in that. And it's only the graphic. There's no lettering on that at all. And I'm not sure, like ram horns. I don't know if you can. I don't know how that trademark works.
I think what WVU needs to do is get an alternate trademark, and it just needs to be Texas horns down. Put it in blue and gold, and that'll be it right there.
Yeah, I think that seems about right. So I just thought that was interesting because we got like 3 or 4 text messages like right in a cluster where a bunch of people saw this. I think it's kind of neat, frankly. I mean, it's definitely not our callers, but seeing it out there looks kind of neat. They're not from this state, but it's still kind of neat, and it looks like that that it should work. It looks like that it should be legal, and West Virginia probably isn't going to necessarily go after this thing. Kind of an interesting
That'd be bad press for a school to go after a Little League, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was. Saying. By the way, apparently the 2 Rams logos are actually different enough to where it doesn't infringe on trademark. I didn't know that. I just now looked that up. All right, we need to take a break. When we come back, hey, the Scooby Sounder. I love it. You're listening to Hotline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
What's on your to-do list?
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Our commitment doesn't stop when you drive off the lot. With factory-trained technicians and a service team you can trust, we're here to keep your vehicle running at its best for years to come. So when it's time to get your next vehicle, choose the dealership that's been serving the community for generations. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
Of course, the LVA was brought into my life because I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
Where he was in the course, we really had to go towards an LVAD.
At that point, I was committed. At that point, I wanted to get better, and I wanted to see what this machine was going to do for me.
With this therapy, he's thriving, doing well. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
If it matters in West Virginia, it's being talked about here.
I always said I was going to move to a mountain in Tucker County, but probably going to put a data center on it, so I got to find a new plan.
Join Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows for Talk Line on Metro News Television. Sports Line on Metro News Television.
I was sitting with a guy last night, and he said, all right, I'm going to go put $1,000 on it. Well, down the stretch of that ball game, he's looking at us like, are you kidding me? Sure enough, the Mountaineers came back. I saw him today. He said, yep, I'm putting another grand on them tomorrow.
Well, that's going to do it for another show. You're listening to Metro News Hotline, or you were. We only have a few minutes left in the program. The boys with Sports Line are coming up around the corner. Plenty more to talk about with West Virginia football season around the corner, high school football season right around the corner. Tune in to the big show tonight, starting at 6:06 with Sports Line coming up now. I'll be back tomorrow at 3:06. Have a great day, everyone, listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.